Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of WrestlePurists Worldwide with Manny the Hooper, either with WrestlePurists, better known as Backup Hangman, Joe Hulbert, and myself. It's a big episode today. Big episode. Of course, it's the day after WrestleMania, so there's that. But also, some of the biggest news that we're ever going to see as wrestling fans. WWE has agreed a deal to sell a majority of majority of their shares to Endeavor. Endeavor's going to be making kind of like a super sports company, to house WWE and UFC. We're going to be getting into all of that. We're going to be talking Mania, of course, and a few other little bits of news that have been coming out throughout the day. But first, please like, subscribe, super chat if you're feeling generous. We always appreciate it very much, and all the people showing up. But yeah, man, Manny, you're not the big. You didn't have the big Mania weekend that we did. You didn't. It's not your flavor. But
No.
what was you up to over when everyone was watching the shows? Because I'm interested to ask if you to tell the people.
I don't even know what I did Saturday. I was playing Spider-Man. I was up till 3:00 in the morning, and then playing Spider-Man, and then it was weird, man. Being off Twitter all day felt kind of refreshing.
Touch
And
grass,
And then on Saturday, I was touching grass in Spider-Man, not in real life, but and then on Sunday I was off. I was working Sunday, got off, took a nap, saw Drew Galloway was on, lost, got off again, started watching DDP and singing before I went to bed around the time the main event started. It was fun watching everybody have a meltdown while I was enjoying how great Sting was,
Like I said before we went live, if you're not going to watch Mania, watching Sting DDP and a bad way to spend your Sunday night,
I also watched Eddie Kingston versus Claudio again. That was my peak of my Mania weekend. And it's just like that, it was over.
Yeah, man. Hulbert, fellow Brit, the veteran, many nicknames you got around here. How you doing, man? How you doing? How was your Mania weekend?
It was great. I'm exhausted. I absolutely spent far too many of these. Like, I was thinking earlier about how long ago it feels that we did that Thursday show, and it's unfathomable to me that was only a few days ago. But I'm always happy to be here. I'm intrigued as to how this show will go for a range of reasons, and I'm pretty. I think we know what's going to dominate the conversation. I think chat knows too.
Oh, 100%.
That'll be interesting because there's a very different vibe today that you may have expected about 24 hours ago. It's a very different feel, which always makes for interesting content. So we'll see how this goes. Well, I'm happy to be here, Monty. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, man. I'm not too bad. Same old, Ibu, man. We know you took the loss to heart last night in the big man event. Well, other than that, how's your day been?
I've been in extended mourning. Grieving.
Oh no.
Contemplating my future with the medium of professional wrestling. Feels like when you the good thing about pro wrestling is it's curated, right? It's you can pick the winners, right? And my first love is sports. I love my teams, the New York Knicks, the New York Giants. I love them, but in the last few years, I've had to separate myself emotionally from my favorite teams because at the end of the day, it's like way too much of my time was invested in these teams that would break my heart ultimately at the end of the season, right? And I get too into sports, and it's not good for me. And when the Knicks and Giants don't succeed, I get pissed. It ruins my day, and I'm like, fuck this, right? And so what have I done to replace sports? Well, I focus more on pro wrestling because it's like, well, that's a different type of medium, and, they pick the winners and so on and so forth. Now, I don't watch wrestling like I watch sports, and yet I did last night. I watched Cody versus Roman, and I didn't watch it like a guy who wanted to see a good wrestling match. I just wanted to see my team win, and I absolutely expected that, and I was ready to party, and we lost at the buzzer, and it's not a good feeling. It's very, 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 very demoralizing.
Your tweets last night were incredible. At one point, in the first 2 minutes of the match, Roman bowed, and he was like, "Yeah, go to the outside, you piece of shit."
Yeah. Go the fucking outside.
The worst thing is, I'm so glad I wasn't like talking to you, messaging you, because I absolutely would have reassured you. Like, nah, man, Cody's gonna win. I absolutely would have done that, which makes it worse.
Like I did.
Here's
I had
the
Powell
thing.
was there, and I was like, he'll win.
Bro, here's the thing. Like, I couldn't I wasn't excited. Like when this match is starting, I wasn't jumping around excited like I was to Sheamus and Gunther and Drew. Like I was not watching this like, oh, let's get this banger. Like literally, I was stone faced sitting on my couch, and I was just like, Cody's gonna lose. Cody's gonna lose. Cody's gonna lose. And I think I was psychologically trying to trick the universe. And I was like, he's just gonna lose. And I'm seeing -1. I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. Brandy's there. -1 is there. Nah. And then he kicks out when he kicked out of the first spear, and he's doing his babyface comeback and the funky like a monkey and stuff. I started to dance. I did a little dance. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah. All right, dance on that nigga. Dance on that nigga. It's like, oh my God. We were so close to perfection, Not that it was a perfect show, but for what I want out of it, we were so close to perfection. Yeah, and we didn't get it.
You've been taking this to heart, and a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to get to it. Like you said on Twitter just a few moments ago, you have spoken to someone in WWE about the whole ordeal and your heartbreak. So we'll get to that when we get to the Mania review, of course. But first, I want to start with the big news. News that you definitely don't see every day. WWE and Endeavor have come to an agreement, a deal, where Endeavor will be purchasing 51% of the company and will be forming a new, like I said earlier, kind of like a super sports company, entertainment company, whatever you want to call it, which will be housing WWE and the UFC. The deal was done at a valuation of around $9.3 billion, which is insane kinds of money. So them getting 51% works out around about 4.75-ish billion. A lot of money, WWE shareholders will still have 49% of WWE. Ari Emanuel, who is the owner and the main chief at Endeavor, he's going to be the CEO of this new super sports company. I think it's going to be called Nuco or something like that. I think it said on the SEC filings. Vince McMahon's going to be the executive chair of the board. Dana White's still going to be president of the UFC, and Nick Khan's still going to be president in WWE. Vince McMahon sent an email out to people in WWE saying Triple H will remain the chief content executive. Triple H will be getting a $5 million bonus, and Nick Khan will be getting a $15 million bonus. But yeah, that was obviously quite a lot of numbers, a lot of stats and stuff that I just thrown out there. But just on the surface, the deal happening. Joe, what was your initial reaction?
It was wow. I was pretty stunned actually. A lot of people, and folks, to be clear, I'm not educated on the matter at all, but a lot of people who were clued in were pretty dismissive of Endeavor at times because of their many. I know that they're deep in debt, and that's a whole other thing, but that's not. Business is weird in that regard, right? It goes without saying. So, but I know some people were dismissive of them, and they already put a lot of money into the UFC, and that was part of why people did kind of look the other way when they came up. The idea of them, those two companies kind of coming together under one umbrella is pretty wild. Beyond that, you inevitably start pondering what that means for the product we cover, right? Like the actual shows themselves. And I don't know. I think it's going to be, I'm certainly not going to sit here and be hyperbolic or reactive because we know so little right now, right? Honestly, very few people know anything right now. There's been a lot of, speculation and throwing around guesses and such. The truth is any kind of sale was going to have that feeling of uncertainty because that's the point, right? It's a new thing. It's uncharted territory. Vince, his presence is ominous and should be alarming. And, it's been pointed out today that his comment about in the weeds was used a few years back about Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman. And he was certainly not in, he was certainly in the weeds then, whether he said he wasn't or not. So his presence to me is the main takeaway in terms of what that means for the promotion moving forward. We will discuss Triple H as a booker, especially after, some of his comments after the show. But objectively, for warts and all, I think that's a better place to be than where we could end up back with Vince still around. So that's the big takeaway to me. Obviously, to the surprise of no one, the heavy hitters came out with a lot more money, and that's kind of how it always works. But
a lot of money, man.
It's a pretty shocking story. I thought. I mean, I didn't follow it closely, but to me, it was pretty stunning the way it all unfolded. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like last week, Vince is back as an employee. It was kind of like, okay. And then, there's all the speculation about creative. It's like, really, it was coming back, and it was just kind of, I don't want to say a smoke screen. It was just kind of prepping to do this big announcement and stuff, Then the story came out.
No, my bad. It's just, one, I should be clear. When I say it's a shocking story, I'm certainly not shocked at Vince being around, right? Like, what I mean is more the Endeavor, the UFC part of it was like, whoa, that was pretty wild. But yeah, carry on, Monty, my bad.
The UFC part of it is wild, man, because it's just like, Manny was making me laugh, and it's just kind of like UFC WWE crossover, You get someone like Colby Covington or Conor McGregor, John Jones, or some of these wild characters in WWE. But I did a tweet. Ken Shamrock back, I did a tweet on the WrestlePurists account saying like what UFC stars would guys like to see in WWE, and I was actually surprised by the amount of people who were like, "None, keep them away." Da 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 da. And I was like, "Whoa!" But then a lot of them were kind of referencing Ronda Rousey, and I was like, "Well, it's a lot of people have got that Ronda Rousey PTSD at the moment, it seems. But I promise you, man, not all MMA athletes are like that, Not all of them will show up and do one great run. Well, very good run, main event WrestleMania, then come back just like completely unmotivated and, doing what Ronda does. But Ibu, what was your reaction this morning when you first saw the news?
The visual of Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon and jet black hair and a thin, concerning mustache. It was like fever dream stuff.
Funny though.
Sure. Just a bit of a fever dream. I read the details regarding like Vince saying like, on a broader level, I'll pay attention to creative, but like I'm not in the weeds. That actually didn't move me the way it did other people, because quite frankly, it just felt like him being honest about what's already been the case, which is that Triple H runs the TV and he has this project. But on a broader level, at the end of the day, since January, this man has been pervading over his shoulder, so to speak, and has been a presence that Triple H likely was and has to consult and, talk to and stuff like that. Vince being a shareholder, a chairman, the guy running the business, and, probably heavily involved in the broader long-term decision-making doesn't surprise me. Regarding the sale, like Joe said, it's just uncertain. I'm really glad it wasn't Saudi Arabia. And, you know what I mean?
So Tony.
Really glad I'm really glad it wasn't Saudi Arabia. Like Joe said, Endeavor, like Ari Emanuel was basically feigning disinterest a month ago when he spoke about this. So was pretty surprised to see that.
Playing the game, brother.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, I'm not it's kind of unfortunate that Ari is keeping Vince. I suspect that Vince sold to him because that he's being kept, like he had to act like I'll step away if I have to, and then he's like looking around like, all right, who's gonna keep me though? And then he sees Endeavor, he's like, I bet. So that's unfortunate, and beyond that, really my only opinion is I just really hope that we don't get like really negative consequences for the talent, as a result of this. Hope people keep their jobs. I don't know what the future holds, but that's really beyond everything. Like I could get into the thick of like, what if this guy doesn't get pushed to that? Really, I just don't want people getting mass fired, which is what usually happens when sales like this happens and mergers and stuff. So some of it maybe is inevitable, but I hope we can mitigate that. But other than that, it's kind of a wait and see on what's going to happen here.
Yeah, just to touch on your comments about Ari like wanting Vince to stay around, it's like the guy who was doing the interview on CNBC was just kind of like, he asked Vince if he had to be convinced to stay, and he kind of had this. Vince was trying to kind of play it like he had to be convinced in, know.
He was trying to portray a normal person. He failed miserably, but that's what he was attempting to do.
Especially with that look,
Yes.
But Ari, bro, he was he really wanted Vince involved. I think at one point he said he would have body slammed him if he wanted to walk away. And he was just speaking glowingly about Vince, man. So he's definitely a big Vince fan. Has been for a number of years, it seems. And like I said, man, if he's paying him 4.75 billion for half of his company, then he must be quite the admirer, you know. So
what a mark!
I guess we're gonna see where it goes, man.
What a mark!
Go on,
I mean, they're friends. He said throughout the interview, like they've been friends for 25 years. So I mean, he's supposed to work with his friend. He said he knew Dana White for years too before he brought the company. So it's just like, this is what it is. I thought the most shocking thing of the interview was, to me, like what Vince didn't really care about, like the history of his family owning the company. He just was like, it was just time to move. It was time to go. And like how nonchalant he was about it, and like it didn't really seem like he probably had an emotional connection to it, or he didn't really show one.
You know what I think is, Manny? I think frankly, when he was ousted last year, I think that's when he was like, all right, fuck it, I'm out. Sure. And I think at this point, it was just like, screw that, screw family ties, screw legacy. I want to get back in and make some money and get back in this company. So here's the thing. I've been saying for the longest time, I want to know what Vince's motive is for a sale. And we found out what the motive is. It's like, that's the ultimate way I fully get back in my own company. You know, It's like to sell it, which is like insane. And if you remember, Monty, when the first report came out in December about Vince wanting to come back, we both said like, Vince can do it, but he'd have to like do it through the most insane Vince McMahon means of all time. You'd have to destroy the board, slaughter it, get back in.
You know, he did that.
You know, overcome SEC lawsuits and things like that and violations and sell the company. And he did every single one of those things. This guy's literally Thanos.
And look, the one thing I was going to say about this thing is like, look, I get it. Like Vince is a piece of shit and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of sad. Like the guy, his whole family built this whole thing. And the way he like brought it from being I
wouldn't worry about it too much.
No, I know.
$4.75 billion, bro.
No, I'm not talking about the money part. I'm just talking about like him just being like, he has like he had no emotional attachment to like.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But
he doesn't have emotional attachment to anything, man. That dude's
no.
He's sick. He's sick, man.
He's literally. I don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah,
he's attached to Austin Theory and John Cena.
So go on, man. Go on.
Yeah, me and Monty were talking earlier. It's just like I guess like Tony's probably happy the Saudis didn't get it because he doesn't have to worry about people outbidding him for talent and all that. But then I'm pretty sure there's gonna be layoff. It's gonna suck, but there's probably gonna be layoffs for a lot of wrestlers and all that, and other employees of the company. I just think it's gonna be a weird period, and it's gonna be kind of interesting when we see top names like Drew coming up or other names supposedly big contracts coming up like. Isn't ever going to push for some of these guys because we need to save. They're in the mood. We have to save money too because I'm pretty sure they want to buy the rest of the company.
It's scary because as wrestling fans, we know the value of a Drew McIntyre, whoever it may be. But unfortunately, we do have to be honest in the sense that they have built a product that is not reliant really on single star power at all at this point. You know, to make money and. There are a handful of guys who make any kind of difference at all. I mean, that's even being generous. There's very, very few. And it is scary, I'd imagine. If you're a wrestler who wants to be involved in a bidding war, you want to push your price up. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I'm with Manny. I don't know if you're going to be won over. Like, if you're Endeavor, like, well, Drew's, he has a great match and he works for you. I was like, cool. You know, like, it's scary, for sure.
I'm sorry to jump, but I don't know if you saw the graphic. There was a graphic going around saying that the 4 key points that they want to focus on, and one was talent development. And so it's just like, well, I'm pretty sure they're going to be focusing more on the PC. Because I was talking to Jordan Patu in the comments earlier on one of the posts, like, it's going to be like the same thing where Joe Rogan and the UFC focus on, like, on this contender series where they try to get fighters to the contender series. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they're going to focus on the W and the PC. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to be trying to go after some of these big names for the first couple of years or not. And you have to be like a huge name, I think, you know, if they're going to go after you.
That's absolutely what I did in the MMA on the UFC side of things. Like, those cards are now filled out by cheaper options who they found through the contender series, you know, and it's like the guys who count, they'll pay for. If they don't make a difference, they'll happy to let them, you know, look elsewhere. And that is wrestling has a lot of options to work. It does not have a lot of options to make good money at all. Like very, very few. And that's scary. You know, it's a scary shift potentially. Obviously, again, this is all speculative, but yeah, I'm with you. It's
Look at Francis Ngannou. They didn't want to pay him all the money that he was worth, and I'm pretty sure. Just imagine if, like, for example, Roman goes up to him and be like, "Yeah, I want 10 a year or whatever," and fuck, we'll just get somebody else to do it.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, really, especially with the talent and the layoffs and stuff. Vince, man. I don't know. Do you think do you think there's a chance that he jumps back in both feet?
Yeah.
Or,
you
think he wants the chair back in Gorilla?
You know what I'll say, Monty? So when this started to really heat up in January, I was convinced that I was like, Hunter is on borrowed time and that Vince is just going to jump completely back in the chair. And I'm not going to naively say like there's no chance of this. But you know what I'm starting to maybe consider, and I think you mentioned this to the guys in the WrestlePurists chat, which is that maybe when he stepped out completely and had to completely disengage, I think he maybe was like, I'm okay with presiding over this and standing over it without having to completely be in it. And so because here's the thing, when Vince was running creative, he only cared about a handful of things, Monty. You know what I mean? Like, you remember, like, he cared about Brock, he cared about Roman, he cared about, like, Charlotte and Becky, right? And I could suspect that he maybe has a mindset of, like, I can still, like, say what I want to happen with these types of people and not give two flying fucks about what Johnny Gargano does in segment 7. You know what I mean? And so I could see him kind of going to Hunter like, yeah, man, so we'll just make sure, like, we're getting Roman to this show where he's going to do this. And then you figure out whatever the hell you want to do with the undercard of this company. So to answer your question, do I think he's getting back in completely? I actually think it's just, like I said, I think they're just being honest about what the situation has already been, which is that he presides over his son-in-law, and his son-in-law has to do all the busy work guiding TV. So I do think that's going to be the case for the foreseeable future. We'll see what happens when, ratings dip or something like that happens, because he is impulsive, and he did fire Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. Well, he got Heyman and Bischoff to run creative for Raw and SmackDown, and then, within a year, like, they were both gone.
Yeah, man, it's just it's all to go to like kind of what you said earlier, what I was saying earlier in the chat. It's just I was talking to my girlfriend about it over the weekend, and it's like the whole bit, which is hilarious, but like of all people. But
babe, what do you
the
think
Vince
about
thing is, the Vince thing. It's like, I think when he was forced out, and he had to step away, I think before that time, he felt like he had to be there. He had like this air of like self-importance, like, I have to be there because these fucking idiots can't do it without me, blah 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 blah. And you'd hear about him showing up and see what the writers have wrote for him, and it was, he thought it was shit, and he'd rip up the script. Like you just mentioned about Heyman and Bischoff, he brings them in for creative, thinks they're shit, fucks them off straight away. I think he just really felt like he had to be there and be on every little thing. Do you know what I mean? And then when he actually stepped away and stepped out of the bubble and realised that he's actually left behind like quite a pretty good infrastructure of people that have been in the business for years, Triple H has kind of been like groomed for this role, and just like other people, sees that business doesn't go to shit, they're doing good numbers, business is going up, etc., etc. And I think he just kind of realised that he don't have to do everything, but at the same time, I bet he was at home bored as fuck,
Right.
And he was just like, all right, I'm going to come in. And I'm just going to pop in and do X, Y, and Z, what I want to do, but I'm not going to book the whole show or anything. But if there's this one specific thing, like put Austin Theory over on commentary that I want on the show, then it's going to be on the show, So
that's the problem, though, right? Like, how much can a booker do when ultimately the biggest parts of the picture it isn't up to him, And it's like, you mentioned the word, he's impulsive.
Very.
You could be going in a certain direction, and he's prone to do this. He's done it a million times. He could just say, no, I don't think that's a good idea on the day off, And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm way more on the outside than you are, everyone. I know, like, you're talking with a much more educated eye than I am. However, that does not sound to me like a marriage that's going to live long. Like, looking with his guidance,
it's super duper tricky.
Yeah.
And I want to throw this out there. Fightful did have an update where they basically were just kind of, it was along the sort of lines of just like the creative process is the exact same. And so look, and this again, I don't want to be naive because I am convinced personally, right? And this was never like 100% confirmed because they'll never admit this, but I'm 100% convinced that in this Mania build, right, they had what they wanted to do, and then Vince was basically fingerprinting like, I want Austin Theory presented this way. I want him working Cena. I want him to do this on TV. I want him to say these things. I want him to tease it with "You Can't See Me." I could see him also doing, you got to present Omos like a giant, and he squashes people every week until we get to him and Brock and I guess the point I'm trying to make is, I could see a situation where, it's like he's having conversations with his father-in-law, but he's still doing what he wants to do. The question is, what are the decisions that Vince is willing to like just kind of be like, no, fuck all that. Exactly. I'm curious, what is that decision, if any? Very, very curious what that would even be.
Yeah, what's causing the tension between them and stuff like that.
I was wondering, like, how does this work? Because, say if I'm pretty sure Dana White's not be watching fucking Raw or whatever, but
no.
Say if one of the other ones are watching, they don't like the way the show's going. Can't they just be like, yeah, we don't like how Hunter's doing how he's running the show? Can they just be like, yeah, get him out of there?
Endeavor is allegedly having nothing to do with the creative process.
Only Ari could do that.
Dana's below.
From the very basic understanding that I have of the situation, it's like,
because
Ari's the CEO, then it's like Vince is the one underneath him, and then Nick Khan's the president. So it's just kind of, it's basically the same, really. Like Vince will be making those kind of calls, I'd imagine. Then Ari, as we touched on earlier, Ari loves Vince, so he's not going to do anything that's going to upset him either.
That's ominous in its own way, right? Because that creates an issue. Sure.
Quick reply to someone in the chat. Juan said Theory versus Cody's for the U.S. title is made official for Raw. Juan, that's not true at all. Cody's in a tag match. That was a troll tweet by my man. Forgot the account, but it was a troll tweet. That's not happening tonight.
Speaking of the chat,
what though?
Going to jump in with some super chats real quick. Appreciate all those that have been sent in, especially the ones that have been waiting. So $4.99. Appreciate it, Darren KG. In my 11 years of fandom, I've never been more mad than last night, and I'm not even a big Cody fan. Can't imagine what Ibu and Monty are going through. I appreciate the thoughts, man. I'm good. I can't say the same for Ibu.
Did you see Bob last night, wasn't he?
No.
Bro, yeah. But you say 11 years of fandom, it is quite easily the biggest fumble in 11 years. And
that was quite the usual.
Yeah, he was quite something.
You know what I'll tell you guys?
Go on real quick.
Yeah, I've been a consistent watcher of New Japan for about 11 years. And when 2017 was the peak of my New Japan fandom, I watched almost every G1 show that year live, which is like crazy in my time zone, right? That's like early in the morning. Big Naito guy. When Shibata went down, Naito became my guy. I watched Wrestle Kingdom 12 live. When he lost to Okada, that was a crippling blow to my fandom that never, ever, ever recovered to the same extent. Of course, I watched New Japan after that. Of course, I enjoyed a lot of things after that. It was never the exact same. And when he ended up getting that win over Okada in 2020 at Wrestle Kingdom 14, you know what I felt, Monty? Nothing. Didn't give a fuck.
Hopefully it don't take that long with with Cody.
Oh no! If they wait 2 years, I'm not gonna care. I won't be there.
But yeah, man, it's a tough one for the Cody fans. Massfan 84 $1.99. Appreciate your Starcade 97 ending vibes. Triple H is a fraud. Say, I think it's worse, bro. He really
Sting's still left for the belt. You know, like
it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling Monty earlier where people were comparing because I said I thought the Eddie Kingston loss wasn't as bad or whatever as the Cody one because I was telling Monty like I just thought that you can tell there's more to they're gonna tell more to the Eddie Kingston loss and the Mark Briscoe loss. Like you feel like there's a bigger picture going on in those losses compared to where I didn't see the Cody loss. I just saw clips and stuff where I just feel like it was the end of it.
So to answer you, Manny, there is a direction for Cody's loss, but it still doesn't make it good, in my opinion. And I don't think that's the reason why it's not as bad. For me, as someone who watched both shows, saw all three finishes to those matches, right? I just think there's just so much like weight that like Cody's law, like the quality of this entire event was incumbent on what happened there, in my opinion. Because I think that like that determines the direction of WWE going forward. Who won that match, right? And the messaging was so poor to have it that the direction is status quo. Cody Rhodes loses, go fuck yourself. And to me, it's like that drastically affected the quality of WrestleMania Night 2. With Eddie Kingston and with Mark Briscoe, I was very disappointed when they lost their matches. But I don't think it's as bad because of all the stories in the play out. Like I do think that's the case, but I think it's just one of those things where it's like I don't think it hurt like the show like that. Like I don't think I just don't like. I didn't expect Eddie Kingston to even win. You know, like Cody Rhodes. You go into WrestleMania, like Cody Rhodes should win this match. I went in the Ring of Honor and I was like, it'd be really nice if Eddie Kingston won and it would help the show. But I don't even think he particularly should. He didn't even get built up that well to even beat Claudio. You know, so.
Also, Cody's like the whole thing with Cody is we're supposed to be preparing him to be like the new face of the company, which is like a superhero role.
Yeah,
Eddie Kingston, while I love him, that's not who he is. The whole point of Eddie is he's going to keep climbing this mountain until he can't climb no more. Cody's not a guy who needs to be an underdog or a loser. Like the whole point would be that he just comes and conquers Roman Reigns and he's the new face of the company. So that's the other thing too.
Which is why when he's doing like dusty punches on Roman and Roman's looking kind of like a bitch while this is happening, I'm like, yeah, finally.
There was also 75,000 people there.
Yes, huge crowd, and this guy's going superhuman on Roman Reigns. Emin
Reznov. You setting Ibu off, Joe, you know?
Sorry.
Emin Reznov, €6. Appreciate you. We've reached a point where Roman's new theme elicits the same reaction from me as his old theme did. Every time it hit, just a big groan. Well, you know, I'm not there.
Becoming a terrifying song.
Yeah, it was a tough night, you know. Vincent Bison McMahon 199. We the ones, Jean-Claude Van Damme, where you at, little bro? Don't know. Modest King 499. Appreciate you. A decision like last night drives away fans. It won't matter, but you can't do things like Cody losing. Story never finishes. I'll close the book.
I did see a lot of that sentiment last night. I did.
Bars.
Yeah, I'm really curious how this affects.
Some real bars going on right there. Dude,
I'm really curious how this affects business because it's like so many more people hop back on for this Triple H story arc, right? And if I were to consider this entire thing from the beginning of his run to WrestleMania, I think that there was this enthusiasm and I think there was this benefit of the doubt that people gave Triple H in that it's like, you know, I don't love everything about WWE right now, but look, I'm going to see this through. And at the end of the day, it's climaxing with Cody Rhodes winning the championship. I don't think a lot of cynics at least kept an extra eye on it, things like that, right? And, you know, Hunter's on the scrum talking about like, you know, the story's not over. There's another chapter. Tomorrow's Raw. That's cool, Hunter. But like, I really do think there's a lot of people who hop back on there like, I'm not going to, like this guy said, I'm not going to continue this book. That's not what I wanted to see. So I'm really curious like how this affects like houses and things like that. Like maybe I'm being a total mark and there's no effect and the ratings are the same and the ticket sales are the same. But yeah, man, I do think there's a lot of people that are like, listen, man, you can continue that story. I don't think it should even be like continuing. Yeah. I'm good. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Berkey 199. Cry # we the ones. Very spiteful. very, very spiteful. DB $2. Appreciate you. Ibu, how do I download last night's Twitter space? I don't think you can.
It's not. I didn't make it replayable. If it was one of those things where you had to be there for that, that was.
You missed it. You missed it. You know, it happens. You'll set notifications for the next one. Just Simon 419 279. Appreciate you. Hangman, you were spitting last night. That's all.
Thank you, Simon. Monty, do you know what I titled the space?
Hard times.
The sad backup Hangman side. Hard times too.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I got it. I got it. Max Fan 84, 4.99. Appreciate it. Any non-zero chance of Inokiism in WWE? Like I could see them using a shooter to take the belt off Gunther Roman to pop it up.
That sounds like something Manny would unironically watch.
Bro, if Manny saw John Jones Roman Reigns poster, he's watching it, bro. Like,
100%. It'll be his new promotion.
And they told him to shoot on him like they did Hashimoto. I might watch that shit too. Fuck, man.
Yo, it could get wild. It could get wild. I think it is a zero chance that happens. You know, we might get some UFC crossover.
SmackDown popped a .69.
Mania, go home, bro.
Jesus
listen
Christ.
Listen to this drone. You know.
No, I know
because
no, because someone was saying. Because someone was replying to me, because I'm talking about business. A guy in the chat is saying that SmackDown did its best number in like 2 years, and I went to check it. That's
makes
crazy.
sense.
Well, tell me about how Rampage.
Being real. Yeah.
Do you actually want to know, Manny?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't even watch that show anymore, anyways.
Damn.
I've noticed. Darren Walker, £10. Appreciate you as always. I know Ibu is sad over Cody, but don't worry. Our boys FTR win the tag titles this week. Factual. And hopefully Big TK announcement be CM Punk returns at Double or Nothing. You'll be happy then.
I would, Darren. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. You know, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes are my two favorite active wrestlers, and I was let down on one side, so we move on to the other side, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. My weekly match ratings are going less and less matches I'm sending to Monty every week.
Mm-hmm.
You need to just start like sliding like a WCW Saturday Night match and just see if Monty, you know, see what his response is. You know,
I did that once. I sent him a Noah match I didn't ask for. It was on the same show. He said, "Manny, I didn't ask for that match. It's like that wasn't even on there." And I said,
it's not. If it was like a retro classic or some shit, then I guess
Manny does not give a shit.
We set a retro division up for retro ratings for like.
That would be kind of cool.
The Joes and Mannies of the world.
Manny's gonna hang him up soon, bro. You gotta do something. For Joe, I
was gonna say this direction that Manny's going in is kind of scary.
He's becoming the Oracle of wrestling, bro. It's wild.
Oracle's back.
He's back. Manny's gone.
Bro, Oracle
was the most positive person on Late Night Grin last night.
Bro, Manny doesn't give a shit about Dynamite. He doesn't watch WWE, of course. This man, if it's not Ring of Honor, bro, that man is just gonna find some random tape from 1994 in a house to pop.
He's gonna start watching the Pro tapes, you know. That's the trajectory, man.
Bro, that man is gonna be giving star ratings to Kazushi Sakuraba fights.
Yeah,
bro, it was that one night where I was stuck in the hospital like last week when I was just watching random Cain Velasquez fights and just posting clips on them at 3:00 in the morning, and you know it was getting no interactions, but. Fuck it, man. You know, was
literally. All right. Joe, what's the percentage? Wood, 9.99. Appreciate it. Just remember that once this sale goes through and the new board is created, Vince will no longer have controlling interest. It will be Endeavor with more board members. I mean, yeah, that's true, but like I said, man, I don't think they're gonna step on Vince's toes too much. They were literally. They made out on television. Yeah, like, it was quite the scene, you know. Taven Sullivan, 1.99. Appreciate you. Gunther is the only realistic person to beat Roman. We'll get to that. I've got a new agenda, you know.
He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Gunther's incredible.
I think he's one of the greatest wrestlers.
ZRN 4.99. Appreciate you. Might be insane Cody now, but there's a chance to make Cody versus Roman 2 better. I'll give benefit of the doubt, but man, I don't know how you don't have Cody win it, Mania. I think there's literally like a very close to 0% chance that you can recreate that moment last night as an opportunity to give Cody the ball, you know, to give Cody his moment. Like, I just don't.
The atmosphere was epic, brother. It was epic. Yeah.
Monty, when do you want me to reveal? Yeah, bro, Monty's face is me. It's just like it's never gonna be the same. It's like when you get back together with your girl, you know, and it's like, but you know what I mean. It's like, you're back, but it's like, you know,
it's never the same. You know,
it's not like when it first came together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First time, the bullshit.
I'm gonna start rapid firing through these. Okay, Rob 4.99. of course, from Unpurist. Shout out to him as always. Hashtag We The Ones. Hashtag Roman Reigns. Hashtag Bloodline. Hashtag Story Finish. Hashtag Royal Runners Never Prosper. Hashtag 2,800 days. Don't know about all that, bro. J Blood 499. One of the worst calls a new booker establishing his identity could make. Every incentive to pull the trigger, and he did exactly what Vince would do. Tough
Absolutely
stuff, brother. Bangers 299. Appreciate it. Cody needs to win the world title at MSG now. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. Just Simon 419279. Appreciate it. Cody will never get that same reaction again, ever.
I don't know about that. I think he actually. So here's the thing. I'm really down. Like, I don't think you can recreate this moment. I don't think you can recapture it. I don't think it's gonna feel the same even if he wins. But I don't think he's gonna like not be over. Like, I think he'll still like be like over as fuck, to be honest.
Yes, I don't know, man. He could have become different. He could have become transformative last night.
Oh yeah, he could have been immortal.
Yeah,
you know I mean that he would have literally turned into a god yesterday.
Yeah.
Pinning Monty, it's just
we're making it worse for Monty.
You just think about 65K in the SoFi Stadium, and you beat the guy.
Listen, I can't. Look, we're doing the podcast, so we have to review it and shit. But I just ain't dwelling on it, bro. I've told you I've got a new agenda. I'm trying to move on to the next
you just
one.
Swept on the coffee. I'm done with it.
I'm saying it to Weebu, bro. I was like, I'm just suppressing it, pushing it down, suppressing it, not dwelling on it. And I'll slowly take it out on my family and friends over the next few years, bit by bit,
That's Ibu and I fucked.
Like a real man,
A month now, worldwide. I'm like, yo, Monty, Cody had a great match last week with this guy, and Monty's like, okay. He's like, he's actually an asshole.
Oh man, yeah. Princess Diana, $2 for fuck's sake. This Mr. Helmsley has made a right mess of things. He has. You're not lying. Josh Baker, $5. Being able to have Cody and Sammy get such momentum and lose like that in back-to-back babes is something special. A perfect storm of trash. It is really something, bro.
Red hot baby faces, bro.
That is wild, bro. It is wild. Like, I said this yesterday, so this is what a lot of people were talking about. Last night, Monty, I said that Sami Zayn took a real bullet in February, and it was almost like everyone knew, like, he did this sacrifice for Cody. It's like you're in war or whatever. It's like a guy, like, took that thing knowing that, like, the rest of the troops can move on, and it's like, it was like, all right, cool. Like, they did that for Cody. And then Cody, like, just got shot down, too. And it's just like, all right.
Listen, bro. It was brutal. Aryan Turner. I hope I pronounced that perfectly. $1.99. Appreciate your predictions on NXT call-ups, if there will be any. Braun. Roxanne.
Thank God.
Braun, Roxanne.
Do you think any of the work rate guys get called up?
Nathan Frazier.
I
don't know who you going with, Vibu.
Maybe Johnny Gargano.
Gargano isn't in NXT much. Maybe. Braun, Roxanne. Frazier's very realistic. I'd like the Creeds to get called up, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I'd like the Creeds to get called up. If it was my company, I would also bring up many of the people that I saw in the 5-way, specifically Dragon Lee and Ilya Dragunov. I think Dragunov in the orbit of Sheamus and the guys in the IC thing would do well. Dragon Lee, I mean, yeah, I would just call him up because it's Dragon.
Bring back the European title,
that sounds aggressive. Do you want me to be like, all right,
But I'm telling you, half the people on the main roster don't want to see people like the Creed brothers up on there. They haven't seen people like that since early Angle. They're like, fuck. And they weren't even around for early Angle.
You know what sucks, Monty? The old head in me, right? It's like because it's just so real graphs. Like, I look at the WWE calendar, and usually it's easy to disconnect in spring. It's like, yeah, it's spring. Who gives a fuck? Then I looked at it and I was like, King of the Ring. Fuck. I was like, damn. But yeah, so those are my answers on the call up. I don't know who actually will get called up. Probably Braun, Roxanne, somebody. They wanted Zoe Stark up for whatever reason. They're really, really into her as a worker. So God bless.
That was spiteful, wasn't it?
What I did? What?
Yeah, you didn't have to say it like that, you know.
They're into that, you know. They think that's, you know.
What were you gonna say, Joe, about the Creed brothers?
Well, I just, like there's a couple good brothers that I don't think want to be showing up to their live events and seeing their names on the Super Creed brothers, you know. Bello's putting his bags down and seeing Julius Creed, be like, well,
they read the format and it says like segment 6, Good Brothers versus the Creeds, and then Call is like, hold on there, brother. I don't know if you want to do this business again with these guys.
These kids.
Yeah, right?
The dumbest thing about that bit that I've just done is that they had a match and it was like completely fine and safe, but still, bits must live, right? Is what it is. Nonetheless,
You got to do it. Well, yeah, rapid fire for these last handful. Ben Dixon, $2, appreciate it. Either Monty, Joe, or Bob needs a Vince dash. I don't know about that, bro.
Okay, quick note on that, Monty. I know we're going rapid fire. I was actually pondering a bit for the grin when the FTR situation goes down on Wednesday of doing the Dax gimmick. And it has just, dawned on me that if I'd have done that, I'd have been actually doing a Vince McMahon cosplay, which would have been very unfortunate. I'm glad that was brought up. Thank you for reminding me not to do that. Monty, continue.
$2 from Star. Appreciate it. Switchblade going to save us all soon. Bro, it's not the same, you know. And I love Jay White.
Jay White is not
a lot. It's not.
He said it's not the same.
It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. Darren KG 199. Strap Cody up on a house show, some Mojo style.
That would be crazy. Roman loses on a house show. That'd be incredible.
Yeah. Lewis, one of our writers. I believe it. Yeah, I think that's his username. If it's not owned, but shout out Lewis 199. He says, not a Cody fan. Hilarious to see all the reaction. I mean, yeah, man, everyone's been fucking going nuts with it. Jamie Ross, of course, the head writer at WrestlePurists, the head chief.
Shout out to
he sends us £5. We appreciate him. He says, Zach Gibson with a heart. Going to use that to transition just real quick into this tidbit. Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Gibson and James Gray, most recently as part of the Schism. I think the names were Rick Fowler and Jagger Reed. I think they were called.
I can tell you.
I think that's Rick Fowler and Jagger Reed.
Yes.
I think that's it.
They were the dyad inside.
What is this, man?
I know what he's doing.
And he's got his ROH book.
What in the fuck?
I know where he's going. Get ready, folks. Manny's better.
I have to scroll through all my notes of
many late night grid episodes.
We already know the answer. This is the worst part of this bit, right?
Look at Manny.
Come on, bro. You've got 5 more seconds for this.
Oh, here it is. It's man, where the fuck? Where I put them? Oh, it's Rick Fowler and Jagger Reed, the grizzled young vets.
We know.
I was team AEW and I drafted them. No, I traded for them.
Appreciate it.
Who did you give up?
Who did I give up for them?
Yeah.
I gave up. Gotta look for my notes again.
Oh my god!
Oh come on, bro. Joe, what have you done?
Bro, look.
I gave up Bear Country.
Bear Country.
All right, so Grizzled Young Veterans, NXT tag team, very good tag team in my opinion. They requested their release. The news broke on Fightful Select earlier on today. Dave Meltzer then followed that up, saying that WWE have granted the release request. So yeah, GYV looks like they're free agents. I'd personally like to see them in Ring of Honor. But wherever they go, I think they'll definitely catch some eyes because, like I said, man, I think they're really good. Especially Zach Gibson as well, just a TV wrestler. He can talk, he can work, tag, singles. He's just really good. But yeah, man, Manny, I know you're fired up about this, as we just saw. Without getting your book out again, what's your reaction to this?
I'm all in, man. Ring of Honor. Fuck, man. We just keep adding more people. We're eventually going to take over Dynamite or AEW. We're going to have a better tag roster with their tag team with the Lucha Bros, Top Heels, Grizzled Young Vets, the Kingdom. Man, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna ride high, and with Nigel coming in, might as well wrap up Dynamite.
Bradford Dynamite's crazy. But yeah, man, shout out to Zach Gibson and James Drake. Joe, Ibu, anything you want to add?
I think that GYV is a very good team.
Yeah.
And I'm not when I heard that they requested a release, it didn't surprise me in the sense that it's like, look, you're on. I think being on a pre-show of an NXT premium live event at 9 a.m. Inside of a dead end group called the Schism, where you're getting Chase U stomps in the corner, and then you end up eating a pin. I think that is like an eye-opening moment for your life a little bit. Like I could see them like walking to the back and just being like, what are we doing? Like we are in the pre-show of an NXT PLE at 9 a.m. Like,
Yeah.
So that's like the right moment to be like, yo, Sean, let us out. And I am glad that they got it immediately, because WWE in the past have played games with this with release requests, and right now, I mean, we're seeing it across like in AEW and in WWE. Like a lot of guys just don't get their releases granted, which is unfortunate. So them getting it is good now, because who knows what the market of free agents is gonna look like in about a month or two. So them being able to get out now and hopefully secure a job is cool. Frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if like Tony Khan maybe reached out to them and was just kind of like, yo, get the fuck out of those deals, bro. I'll get you guys Ring of Honor right now. So I expect them to be in the Converse very soon, and they would fit in Ring of Honor.
Sounds all tampering to me, brother.
I want to say one thing. I'm going to plead to one man, the Messiah of the Backbreakers. Bro, fucking, man, Endeavor and them are going to combine. Just get out of it, man. They're going to, they don't care who stays, who leaves. Just, it's the time to leave, Roddy. It's the time to leave. I know you have a fucked up neck probably, but there's some real graps going on right now. And imagine you with Claudio.
And, baby.
Baby. In the Warner Bros. Studios. Electric.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, shout out Grizzle Young Vets. Very good tag. Shinato, 4.99. Appreciate ya. Mazfan 84, 1.99. Appreciate ya. Better Prospect, Oleg Butlin or Gable. Oleg? Gable's done. Gable's done, bro.
I'm not sure that's a real thing.
Oleg Bolton is actually in the ring wrestling in front of a crowd, and so
easy. All right, so we've done super chats, we've done WWE sale. Let's do Mania, and obviously I think let's just start with the main event, man, because obviously Ibu honey dicked a lot of people into the podcast, saying that he spoke to people, and all this and that. And we'll talk about the match, then we'll get into your scoops or whatever the fuck we want to call it, your conversations. And so we'll talk about the match, and we'll do that, and then we'll kind of just go through the rest of the card, But yeah, man, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, main event of WrestleMania in Hollywood, 75,000 people. The atmosphere was all time, like just great. It felt right, It felt like the moment. Felt like they found the guy. It felt like Cody was about to become immortal, as we said earlier. And, interference, bloodline, spear, 1, 2, 3. Same old. Devastated babyface in the middle of the ring. Roman celebrates on the ramp with his titles. And, yeah, man, the match was so good as well. But that finish legitimately hurt it and the show in general, I think. Yeah, man, what a fumble, I thought. Genuinely, was shocked more than anything. Now, there was, a little sneaky suspicion. I wasn't quite where Ibu was with, just completely worrying and panicking before and during the match that Cody was going to lose. But I did think there was, a tiny suspicion of Roman maybe winning, but it was always dismissed within myself as, of course not, Of course not. What the fuck? What would
because it doesn't make sense. Because it wouldn't make sense.
And yeah, but Manny, I know you ain't seen the match, so we're going to circle past you on that one. Joe, what did you think of the main event as a match? And, get into the finish a little bit as well and stuff.
I love the match. The atmosphere for that match is like the most extreme example of actual big fight feel that I think any US main event has seen in a long, long time. I'd be really intrigued actually as to because it's one thing to have an arena rocking, but like when it's a stadium like that and they're making that much noise, that was a spectacle, man. That really was. That was something. I know the way Roman paces his match is not for everyone. As we've discussed previously, I kind of enjoy that like old school main event style. So it is what it is. I thought it was going along great. And then that last 10, 15, I thought was electric. Like it was like intoxicating to me. And I wasn't even invested necessarily in who wins just as much as it felt it had so much gravity and it felt like such a big match. And I was absolutely with it. And I will say, when the referee bump happened, I thought, what I expected, I thought this match doesn't need that. It was like a great world title match without that, and I was kind of worried that they were going to undo it. I've got to be honest, I was never worried about the result, which is hilarious in hindsight, right? But like,
same.
I was more thinking, they don't think they need to do a ref bump, but whatever. I will say, having Roman win and also opting to do the Sammy and Kevin run-in was like an insane moment. Like, because the whole point of that, to me, was the idea they are actually finishing the story, right? Like even Kevin and Sammy are involved now, and it's like, I thought that was completely baffling. And the biggest thing, I completely disagree with the result, obviously, but even more than the result, the fact they didn't even have a creative finish and Solo just came back out of a hoodie on, I thought was like, it was so ridiculous that I assumed they were going to do a dusty finish. I assumed that I was waiting for the referee to restart the match.
For like a few, I was saying this to people earlier. So like for a few, it was that absurd, and I was that like shocked. My brain was that fucking scrambled. But I thought for literally like 5 seconds, like dusty finish, dusty finish.
This is my thing. It's like I believe they can have another great match. I believe he could still win the belt. Maybe I'm being reactive. Maybe I'm being unfair, and I should let it play out. I'm cool on that. I'm gonna go my own way on this one. I will be stunned if they ever get them that ready to see Cody Rhodes as the world's champion. That place was rocking. I mean, it was a really special atmosphere. And when Cody was making his comeback late, and when they were going back and forth, they were just ready, and they went so close to the finish line, which made it even worse. Insane. I couldn't believe the finish, but I love the match. It's just a shame that we're never going to talk about that match without talking about the finish. That's the reality of it, right? And it's like, that's why sticking the landing is the most important thing of all, So that's where I'm at.
Sticking the landing 100%. It's just, oh man, like you said, the finish, the result of the finish was what it was and bad, but also just the execution, man. Like you said, bro. Like Solo gets ejected, but no, he comes back in a hoodie. Samoan Spike spear done, and it was just like, oh no, like it was so bad. Ibu, Heartbreak Hotel, man. I'm gonna get your shit off, bro. Get your shit off. Do what you gotta do.
When they were in opposite corners and they were being announced, and the crowd was reacting, and you have this gorgeous sunset look of SoFi Stadium where there's like a nice hue of orange red on the crowd. It just looked gorgeous. It looked beautiful. And then they walked face to face, and the crowd is going just insane. In the moment, it was like intoxicating. Honestly, I was like, "This is like professional wrestling magic." And again, I didn't care about the quality of the match. I just wanted Cody to win. But as I'm watching it, and I saw some people on the timeline with like dissenting opinions and shitting on the match, but I was just in it the entire way, And they're slow burning, and they're doing the Roman slow burn stuff, but it's with Cody plugged in, and quite frankly, he's like when it comes to the fundamentals, he's so far above so many other wrestlers. So like, just him plugged into that format in a stadium is like a lot better, for me. And so like I'm watching this, and he's getting the early exchanges. He gets a pop for a side headlock takeover. He does a drop kick, and Roman takes a break in the outside. And I'm like, all right. You know what that felt like, Joe? That's like the game began, right? Your team got off to a 10-2 start, and then Mike Breen goes, Chicago's going to call a timeout. And you're like, and you hear the theme song like, and you're like, yeah, and it's just the early, you quick piss break. You're like, all right, we're winning. And so it's going and it's escalating and it's old school. And Cody's just in there with Roman and Roman's doing his shit. But, the ref kicks out Solo and you're like, get the fuck out there, you fat Pete. Like, whatever. Cody, like, the ref takes the weight belt away and Cody does the Cody cutter and the big kickouts and the finishers. And like you said, when the Usos came out, right? I'm like, Sammy, get out, please. They come out. I'm like, all right, they cleared that hurdle. They did that part of the match. The Usos are out of there. Now Cody's gonna close the deal, take us home in this fourth quarter. Ninth inning, Mariano Rivera, take us home. You know what I mean? And then Solo comes back in, and I'm like, they're not really doing this, right? They're not really going to fucking do this bullshit. And they did. And like you said, for me in the moment, last week on Worldwide, I talked about how Cody's favorite match was Hogan and Rome and Rock, right? And I was saying, maybe I should try doing that. And we were talking about, like, I don't know if that's even possible. Somehow, the atmosphere is very similar, you know? And Cody, in a similar way, felt very superhuman at points in his match when he's doing his comeback. It just made you believe on like a different level, It's like Roman Reigns is literally positioned as a god. Nobody could touch him, and somehow Cody ascended to a place where like you believed he could box with God, and he was doing it. He was fucking doing it, and then he didn't do it. They didn't. The thing about sticking landing, Joe, is Cody. Sorry, not Cody. Yesterday's tag main event, right, with KO and Sammy, like that's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? WrestleMania 39 night 1 is like an all-timer because of that and because of the other finishes. And this is just going to be, at the end of the day, the match quality is not going to be remembered months from now, a year from now. It's just going to be something that falls to the wayside because they did the wrong thing. Could you imagine if CM Punk lost to John Cena in Chicago? That's considered one of the greatest WWE matches ever, and it's because of the moment. So they made a big monumental fumble there, and I was super disappointed. And I talked to someone from WWE Creative. So this is a source that I've had for a long time, and I've asked this individual for weeks on end who's winning this match, and I never got an answer. It was always skirted around, it was always danced around. And then this morning I heard, "Sorry about last night, brother." And I was just like, what the hell, man? And this person was trying to essentially let me know that this is just the beginning of the story. Roman and Cody's interactions on TV were deliberately very subdued, and they intentionally didn't fight and things like that because this is just the beginning of a long arc that's going to span all the way to the summer, and that there are going to be multiple twists, multiple turns, debuts, and debuts and returns. And I'm just like, okay. And he's like, yeah, so it's going to be this really big thing, and we have some big explosive angles planned, and it's this long-running thing, and so it's just the opening salvo to a big thing. And the word used was Avengers Endgame style clash to climax the whole thing. And I'm like, I was admittedly very petulant and salty. And so when I heard all this, I was just like, all right, you could have done that with Cody winning. You could have continued doing that with the same result. I was told certain things about where this is going, and some assurances were made to me regarding Cody Rhodes, and I replied, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. So I was being a little spiteful, and if he's listening, I apologize. I already apologized to you. I was my feelings. But the bottom line is, they believe that this is just the beginning of a big thing. I found out what Paul Heyman's opinions are on a lot of this. It's very heartbreaking. Paul Heyman is my favorite wrestling mind of all time, my favorite booker of all time. Found out that Paul Lee is a very he's not sure about Cody. He's one of those guys that when they ask him about this stuff, it's kind of like he basically what the hell? Heyman basically says, I don't know for sure if Cody Rhodes can do the type of storytelling in wrestling television on a week-to-week basis that the Roman Reigns and the Bloodline do. That's his stance. And his whole thing is, I don't know if Cody can carry TV and the entire brand on his back. He said, I'd like to think he can. I suspect he can, but I don't know for sure. And he's open about voicing this in meetings. he has told Cody this to his face, which is surprising because it's Paulie. But the general thing with him is just that he's super pro Roman, and anytime you ask him, it's just like, this is a dynasty. Let the dynasty be the dynasty. So if you're listening, Paul Heyman, Paulie, I love you, but fuck you.
Bro, Paulie saw the Nightmare Universe thing on AEW. He knows he ain't him, bro. He saw what the Elite were doing. He said, "No, this guy can't carry a show like the Elite. We got the worst person of the Elite. You know, it is what it is."
I love the idea that if Cody had won this match, they could never interact again, and like the idea the feud couldn't have continued anyway. Like they absolutely could have worked SummerSlam after Roman had lost the belt. It would have been a huge match. Like, you know, like the notion that the story can only continue if Cody's still chasing is this never been a heel promotion until fucking Triple H did the Ric Flair cosplay shit, and like now they're like this. There's no reason he has to win for it to go on and be a faction war, you know? Like, it's just bizarre, but whatever.
I'll tell you what, in a weird, stupid, perverse way, if the good guys all wear nightmare tracksuits, you know?
No, don't let him get you back like that, bro. Don't do that to yourself, man.
No, I'm kidding.
Stand firm. Don't do it.
You really want Sammy Lame and freaking Kevin Stink to come out here in track jackets? Come on, bro. What's going on out there?
Oh, no, not them. Steen Erico in nightmare pajamas is nasty. Like don't
give him that olive branch here, but you escape. You run away. Get away now.
Monty, would there at least be a bit of a twinkle in your eye if Randall Keith Orton
they get me back with that
got involved in the proceedings here?
I'm an RKO.
No, I'm sure, like, bro, I'm sure the feud will be good, but that doesn't
change that this is a bad finish.
It doesn't change that they missed the moment. You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
So it's like, I'm sure it will be good, but they'll never recreate that again. It just won't be the same, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure when Cody wins the belt, because my opinion on it is, I think Cody, they're going to end up in the same place, you know, and it's kind of what they've alluded to and shit anyway. But it's like Cody's going to end up with beating Roman anyway, and it's not going to feel as
genuinely
big, like, you know.
I would rather the reason he didn't win here be that they're going with someone else. If it's still going to be Cody, you've just had it. It was there. We all saw it. It was last night.
It's 1,000 days.
You bring that up, Joe. And
here we go.
My new agenda is Mr. Jey Uso needs to be the one. Jey Uso needs to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns, because if we're telling the bloodline story, he has been always involved as like one of the main protagonists in the story. You know, he been there from day one, really. We've rooted for him. He's been the underdog. He's been the one who's been emotionally conflicted throughout. And I wanted to see Jey Uso beat Roman anyway after this match. It's just that I wasn't expecting. I just wasn't expecting Roman to still have the belts. So if Roman still got the belts, bro, Roman still got the belts, bro. Belt. You got a belt. Listen, bro. Listen.
Hold on.
Jey Uso should be the one to beat Roman Reigns.
Okay,
I'm sticking to it.
No, but also yes, because Roman being the champ for 3 years and then losing to Jey Uso by like small package would be one of the funniest wrestling moments ever.
No. Small package. See?
Oh yeah, inside
No. We're not doing it. I want Jey Uso to overcome Roman Reigns, clean in the middle, belt it up. He ain't got to hold the belts for long. You ain't got to go with him as the guy. But if you're going to tell the story, just fucking finish it up.
I love Jey, but I don't know, man. I don't know if...
You're doing it. It's the agenda. It's the agenda.
This is nasty. This is nasty, Monty. You didn't even want Eddie Kingston to be AEW World Champion. You want Jey Uso to be WWE Champion.
Hold on. Where did I don't want Eddie Kingston to be AEW World Champion come from?
I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation before.
That has never came out of my mouth or crossed my mind. Yeah, I was gonna say that's never crossed my mind ever. But yeah, Jey Uso.
I will say I was disappointed at how how just nothing. They're spotting the main event. They just came out and super kicked Cody, and I was out here predicting there was going to be this conflicted Jey Uso moment, and he just super kicked Cody. And it was like it was kind of lame to me because to me his character's interesting because he's nuanced, and in that case he just came in for a super kick and was like, "Yep, here we go," and let's beat Cody. So that was unfortunate, but yeah. This one is going to be. I get the sense we're going to circle back to this finish a lot over the coming months and maybe years. I don't know. It's going to be one that people talk about for a long time. So.
Okay, I just asked the wrestler on Raw. I said, "How did the talent meeting go?" Replied, "As expected." I don't know what that means.
It means that Triple H went in there and was like, "All right, guys, business as usual. I'm gonna be the one making the calls. Vince is, he'll give his opinion, but don't worry about it. We're a family." Like, bro, come on, come on.
Or Anderson starts sweating when he hears that we're a family line. He says, "Fuck, I heard this one before."
Hold on. Follow up. Hunter just cut a promo.
Yeah, that's what he does, bro. Do you not remember before? I think it was one of the NXT's Mania weekend. Before it was pre-heart attack, and so one of the members of staff at NXT must have snuck the camera in, and it was Triple H giving one of those speeches, bro. Like, it's just it's a promo, bro. It's Paul Heyman cosplay, It's not quite the real thing, but he gives it a go.
Real, super quick. A WWE wrestler was on the phone with me one time doing an impression of one of his meetings before because he apparently before pay-per-views he meets the roster, right? And he used to do this in Takeover, and he does this for his WWE Premium Live events. And like basically the guy was saying like Hunter was going like, if you had one shot, one night to become a legend, it's tonight. We're in Montreal. You're gonna go out there and become a fucking legend. He's a cunt. It's like, all right, bro. Okay, man. He likes to say "show them who you are" a lot. That's one of his go-tos. Show them who you are. He says it to Steen a lot. Yeah, show them who you are. So
based, real based. One second, I'm just messing around with something on the laptop.
Okay. I think we've covered the main event, right? I think fair to say.
Yeah.
You know what made me feel? Oh my god.
We're cooking.
The big man is back.
We're cooking.
Hey, I gotta say, man, I am so happy for the Usos.
Yes.
They ended up having an inarguably amazing match in the main event on night one. Jey Uso is a special wrestler, and I'm glad people are starting to see it. And it's making me feel bad. I feel better, Joe. I'm remembering that Gunther is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was so focused on the main event. I was like, oh yeah, Gunther is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. So that's nice.
Yes.
Yes.
The Usos thing was, and the thing is, it's like Kevin and Sammy were the headline, and
Mark,
rightly
can you take this
so.
off the screen, please?
It's a little much.
It's a little.
We're already putting him over, bro. You don't have to have
Joe, this is low key. That was low key. That's how Monty is psychologically like coping.
That's the code.
Yeah.
So Kevin and Sammy were the focus, and rightly so, because their story has been incredible, and it's been incredible for years. But this was an incredible highlight, and Kevin Owens now main event two of these, one with his hero and one with his best friend, which is an incredible deal. But the Usos part of it really was neat to see a tag title match close WrestleMania. And to see the Usos, who every year at WrestleMania would get flung into like a fatal four-way tag, on the pre-show or whatever, or like when I was at WrestleMania, they had the match with the Bludgeon Brothers, like just destroyed them in New Day in like 6 minutes or some shit, To see them in that spot was pretty cool, and they delivered big. I know they've been kind of polarizing in recent years, but I think they've had a pretty remarkable career. In terms of WWE tag teams, they are clearly the best, I think, in that promotion's history. I really like, and when I say best, I don't mean the most talented or most skilled. I mean in terms of the career they had in WWE, the actual run in that promotion. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's close to him in that regard.
Yeah, neither do I, man. Like, I was doing this yesterday. And was it yesterday? That one of the days, bro. Ayo got mad. He was talking New Day. I was just like, New Day don't do that on Saturday night, bro. They just don't.
They're also like kind of a faction, though. You know?
Oh yeah, of course. There's also that as well. But like you said, Joe, like in WWE as a WWE act, in ring and as just an act as television characters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're the best WWE have ever had, man. And it's like people are always throw the like, Attitude Era names at you. Bro, look how long those runs were.
Yeah,
they were nowhere near as long as what the Usos have been doing this for, bro. And for them to, at this point, after already being in it for so long, at such a good level for so long, to then do what they did and have like the crowning moment of their careers on Saturday night, it just put them over the edge for me, personally.
They've been counted out. The thing is, like, when they were the face paint Usos, people were done with them in 2016. When they were involved in the Roman AJ, people were so done with them. And they've talked about this. They actually talked about WrestleMania about how
I thought they sucked.
When they turned heel, they kind of said, we're either going to make this work or we're going to be done. And obviously they reinvented themselves. They had the feud with the New Day, which was tremendous. And then they kind of faded to the background. Again, they were in the tag title scenes when they were together, but it wasn't the same by any means. And this bloodline thing, as you said, Monty, this is the crown, this is the crown jewel of their run, and this is the height of their popularity. And it's pretty special to do that, I think, around 12 years into your main roster stint as a team. That's pretty unique. So yeah, they're a very special team for sure.
One thing that really popped me is what me and Parker were talking about a little bit last night. One of the nights, there's been that many podcasts and shit. I'll get caught up, man. But it's just funny how Jimmy he's not in the best shape he's been in over the years. He's had his issues with like alcohol and stuff. He's had his injuries and that. But he's still out there, and he has the best match of his career on Saturday. It just popped. There was just something about it that popped me, because Jey Uso as well, like comparatively, like he's like proper like in shape, in the zone. You know what I mean? And you see them both together, and you just got Jimmy's like a little chubby now, and you're just like,
kind of awesome, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I mean. Like,
so it's funny.
It popped me huge.
I was getting kind of fat in the pandemic, right? And I'm seeing where Jimmy's going, and Jimmy did my pandemic trick, which is at Mania, right? What he did was he lined up his beard and lined up the sides, and for whatever reason, fat niggas do this, and they think like it just like it makes them look different and or slimmer. Because the beard is lined up a certain way, you know what I'm saying? The thing, I saw him and I was like, nigga, you still got rolls, bro. Like, I know your game. I did this shit. It was funny. I grew my beard out, you know what I'm saying? So you don't see the cheeks kind of getting a little full.
I know that game plan. I didn't
get a chance to talk about this match on here. I know you guys did a show yesterday, but I did like that. One of the things they do really well is they always feel connected, right? Like this, they're great at like saves and quick, back and forths. I did love that on the finish, Jimmy tried to make one last save and Kevin stunned him, and it was almost like like they had the answers almost all. That was a great touch because I hate when a finish excludes one of the guys. So you're giving Sammy the big dramatic finish, but you still got another Jimmy, interference, which makes sense because that's what they always do as a team. And,
bro, that match is a masterpiece, bro.
And it was really interesting, the structure of it, because it was like they went into heat and then just did a 20-minute finish.
I was
basically,
say, the majority of the match was the super extended finishing stretch. Yeah, and as we've all talked about, the Usos, what they're good at is the finishing stretch. Yeah. So they're like, okay, let's just do that longer because they've been poisoned with bloodlineism. And so, like, they've had their matches started having long heat segments, like Roman. And then here it was like, we'll do a little bit of that, and we'll just go PWG mode, which is awesome. Night one, the thing about it to me that's cool is like the message was sent that like tag team wrestling matters again here. Because they did that tag showcase, the 4-way, and that was like so good. And then they did the main event with the tag match, and to me, like. Do you remember at Uncle Worldwide we were talking about this and people were like, the tag votes don't matter. Like, that's a consolation prize for Kevin and Sammy. Like, who cares about the tag titles? And we were like, dude, the Usos are a main event act now. Like, they're genuinely like main eventers in the promotion, Yeah. So like it didn't feel out of place. It didn't feel like a consolation. Like, it felt like that's
Jey Uso has main evented more WWE TV than anyone, I think, over the past 3 years or so. So talk about main eventer, brother.
Main event Jey, right, brother?
That's your man, bro.
The next world's champion.
The message in night one was that tag team wrestling matters. The message in night two should have been that if you go to WWE, your dreams can come true. But the message was, and if you're a kid, you can believe. But the message was, acknowledge me. So whatever.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Omos and Brock Lesnar?
It was a hoot, man. It was a hoot.
This mother.
Brock came ready to bum.
selling.
Brock came ready to bum. It was a hoot, bro. I don't know what you want from me, man. He did two bear hugs in a 4-minute match. I mean, that's fucking real graps, you know.
All I needed more. If I got at least two, all I needed was the spot where Omos is standing there, right, and Brock's trying to knock him over, and he goes for all I needed was him hitting the ropes and doing running lariats to him while Omos kind of puffs his chest out to not take it. I needed that, a few forearms, and I'm gonna be stupidly hyperbolic about this match, but yeah, I thought it was a good time for what it was. I like this more than Austin Theory versus John Cena.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
He said,
Theory's obviously the problem, but Cena is a fascinating watch at this point in his career, man.
He's
in his
funny.
life, he's like, I don't know what he's doing, mate. We were joking on Saturday. The spot he did where he went into the 5-knuckle shuffle when they cheered and he went like this. Like he thanked them for cheering him. It's like, you all right, man? You good?
Bro, listen, John Cena is an enigma, and I think the funniest thing about this is he clearly didn't try. Fightful reported that this match went under time, not over, under time. They went to the finish multiple minutes early.
Cena just said, "Go home."
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, I guarantee, because dude, the modern Cena formula is AA, Super AA through announce table, Code Red, Springboard Stunner, a couple STFUs in there. This guy, did he even land it once, his finish?
No, man.
Bro, he didn't give a fuck.
The last couple of times we've seen him, he's been full house show mode, genuinely. Like, he was that way on the SmackDown too with Sammy.
But that match was way better than this.
But he didn't. But what he did was literally his comeback, right? Unless
no, that's all he did.
Yeah.
Pop. Real grabs.
But man, he's got bigger fish to fry at this point.
That match is awesome though. But this is it was what it was. I did like the Brock match more. The women's 4-way tag was kind of nothing. Shotzi did a couple things at the end that I was like, okay, a tiger suplex and a rolling elbow. All right, Shotzi. Ronda Rousey, how the mighty have fallen. Monty, what do you even do with Ronda at this point?
Well, Ronda didn't do shit in the match because she's injured.
Yes,
and they were working around the fact, But
nobody cared.
With Ronda, bro, it's just kind of, I've said it for months and months now. It's just like, come on, bro, let's move on. I don't want to call for someone to get fired, but Ronda Rousey is quite easily a multi-millionaire, so I don't feel as bad about it compared to other wrestlers. But let's get her out of there.
So weird, man. It was like the way they did it. It was like they were setting up for some sort of twist. It was like she's taking so much time. Look at Ronda, have arrogance. She just won. Right, I guess.
I was like, okay, I suppose. Yeah. Man, if it was up to me, man, I would get her in the room and I'd be like, do you still want to do this? And try to get a definitive answer out of her. And if it's anything other than like, yes, I really do, I'm getting Io Shirai to fucking have her look up at the lights. You know what I mean? And just move on with my life. So that was that. There was a million commercials and
there was a double sharpshooter.
Say it again.
Yeah, I said there was a double sharpshooter.
You had to get the natty shout out in there.
Listen, bro.
You fucking piece of shit.
Every time she does that spot, Cole calls it like he's never seen it. It is so funny.
Oh my god! Time. Wow!
Will she? What is this?
What? It's like, all right. Yeah, it was funny because I like the opener. The second match was whatever, but like the
hold on. Notification.
Oh boy.
It's nothing big. It's just nothing. Today marks 15 years on the WWE main roster, 15 years of doing what I love, etc., etc., etc. Happy anniversary to Natty on WWE. 15 years, brother. Joe, you sit there, you shake your head. Yeah.
Not for any
what other woman has been on national television for 15 years?
I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing with your intention to bring it up on this podcast.
Listen, bro.
Nothing but respect for Natty, but you are shameless and you know it. Let's move on with our WrestleMania review.
You know what? You know what I'll say? I'll give Natty, Monty. She had a 3 3/4 star match with Cora Jade in the Performance Center.
Don't encourage him like that, man. Don't encourage him.
Hey, man.
They did.
I'm just giving props to a legend. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, I'm glad. Well,
I thought the flow of this was like really just clunky the show, like, because there's so much padding and stuff. It's so annoying to sit through, because you get video packages for stuff that wasn't even happening at that point. Like they did an Edge and Balor package out of the second match, right? And I was like, I'm not trying to see this right now necessarily. And then they went after that, like it was like Bobby Lashley came out or whatever, and he smiled at his trophy, and we got some more like Snickers ads and shit.
Yeah,
and I was like, get on with the show.
The show had no flow of that first block, and I will say, I think they did it because they wanted to give both matches like equal chance to get over. Mm-hmm. But the men's showcase tag was way more suited to going on early than the women's one was. Mm-hmm. And that, like, I thought that was a really interesting choice to put that on at second. I didn't think that assisted the show's momentum greatly. Obviously, we're about to talk about the next match, which transformed in front of our eyes, because that was, I genuinely believe it's one of the great WrestleMania matches ever. I don't think that's even.
So here's the deal. I don't even remember what I was going to say, but here's the thing. They did those two matches. The women's one, frankly, is a pre-show match that the only reason it isn't on the pre-show is because Ronda Rousey's in it, you know? Mm-hmm. But like, other than that, like, that should literally be on a kickoff. And
they don't do matches on kickoffs really anymore, so
yeah, but we need to bring it back, you know? just bring it fucking back.
It's misogyny right now, you know?
It's not even misogyny. It's not even misogyny, because you know what, man? The top of WWE's women's division is spectacular, and this WrestleMania 2-night event reminded me of this, because I was very down on WWE's women's wrestling, because like on TV, like the stuff they do is so boring with them, and I'm starting to notice it's not even just Charlotte, Monty. We were talking about this behind the scenes. It feels like the entire main roster's women's division, the main eventers, they're all bright lights players, bro. They're bright lights players, like even like compared to the men, like they literally. If it's Raw, you know, you get what you get. But on these big shows, man, you know, there's something. But
they'll remind you, brother. Yeah, absolutely. As you was about to get to, third match, Intercontinental title. Gunther retains versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in. Oh man, I'd have to rewatch, but probably one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen. They beat the fuck out of each other. Gunther's legitimately like one of the best wrestlers I think I've ever seen. Sheamus is one of the wrestlers that I think I've loved more than anyone I've ever seen. And Drew McIntyre, he's just a fucking animal. He's he's just an animal, bro. These guys killed it, Joe.
Monty,
I know
he has spinal stenosis actively.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
That's like your dramatic way. You heard something and you've dramatized, and now he has spinal stenosis.
He has spinal stenosis.
He doesn't, bro.
I'm gonna get confirmation on this. Can you imagine just the boys being like hyperbolic? Like
it is.
They're like, brother,
no, spinal stenosis, bro. Come on, man. His back hurts, you know? His back hurts. We'll go with that. We'll go with that before we start medically fucking diagnosing wrestlers, you know? But
his C1 vertebrae is broken, brother.
Joe, I know you love this triple threat match. Walk us through it, brother, you know?
Well, you knew what the intentions were when they removed Gunther from the first exchange, and Drew and Sheamus shared one of the most absurd punch exchanges I have seen in some time. Sheamus, after 4 punches, had a complete bruise on his face forming. Drew was clearly, he was revved up and then some. He's always physical. But he leveled up here, and the other guys are always willing to play that game, right? It goes without saying. The nastiest one Sheamus does, and it popped me when he wrestled Gunther at the Clash show, and he did it a lot here. That thing he does where he throws that right hand to the body. like he's fucking Roberto Duran.
Those are the little things I love in these kind of matches, man.
He just sort of whacks people on the side and the back sometimes.
Who's Sheamus, right?
Yeah, and then when Gunther re-entered, I mean, he's obviously been hitting really hard since he came up, but this took me back to a certain different version of his career, different part of his career. He was chopping, like in a manner that was genuinely frightening at times. Like, the noise those shots was making was like alarming. There was one moment where Sheamus, like, he took a chop and you could see in his face he was just dealing with the pain, and Gunther followed up with a boot to the face, fucking kicked him in the.
Real quick interjection. I was hearing about because I asked like some of the backstage reactions throughout the show, and one of the specific things I got was that during this match specifically, Regal's headset came off because he was like starting to get really animated, and apparently when Gunther was chopping, he was screaming like harder, chop him fucking harder, and he's like just going crazy next to Triple H. But, yeah,
I'm so genuinely, and I get why there's been a lot of conversation about Gunther's place on the roster previously, not so much as of late, but initially there was a lot of fear, right? And I get it completely. I was part of that, and it is cool that he's getting this run though, because he's been one of the best wrestlers in the world for a very, very long time. But there are a lot of people who have just met him as Gunther, and he has quickly established himself in that world as like one of the great IC champions. I think he can do more than that, let's be clear. But even if it ended tomorrow, this particular part of his career, he's had a hell of a fucking run, man. This was a WrestleMania classic, and he's been incredible as the IC champ. I don't know if there's ever been an Intercontinental champ that's produced in ring the way he has with this run.
No!
So seeing him on this stage is really cool because, look, man, none of us thought we'd ever see him on like this, in this kind of setting. So I'm glad to see him adjust. I'm glad to see him thrive because he's one of the special wrestlers, and I'm glad we've got to see him. Obviously, the other two guys they're just incredible soldiers, right? In that regard, you knew when they were put in this spot what they were going to deliver, and I think they even over delivered. So, a classic, genuinely one of the great WrestleMania matches.
Oh man, I loved it. It's like, three Europeans just beating the shit out of each other. Takes you back.
This match shows you the potential of the white race. It just
Bro, Monty's comment was like wild enough about just going that way, like just charging in that direction. Monty like opened the door and you sprinted through it, like, yeah, let's go that way.
This was incredible. Yo, Gunther's entrance. First of all, you have Kaiser and Vinci looking like soccer players on the stage, announcing him. And when you get the full view of the stage, and he's in there with this big long coat, I was just like, look, this guy is like the king of the world, man. I watched this match, and one of the things I feel is this shows you the shortcoming of having only one world champion and it being a part-timer, because these guys are main event level wrestlers, in my opinion, and but what I like is that not only is Gunther having a great IC title run, it doesn't feel like a mid-card belt. Like when it comes on, it feels like you're watching something that's very important for a belt that really matters, with guys that are like high on the card, because there are mid-card reigns that are good, but they feel like mid-card reigns, and that's fine. That's what they are. But this, it's like he is doing his damnedest to make this feel like the most important it could be, Prestige is, yes, like it just Gunther in general, bro. Like he's a pro wrestler on a sports entertainment show, and he doesn't play their game. They just appeal to him when it's his turn to be on the show, and he just feels like a Japanese wrestler. Like he gets in there, and like I just respect him so much, like he's in there, and like I almost want to bow. I'm like not comparing it from a legacy standpoint, but I watch it the way I watched literally like a Misawa or a Kobashi. I'm like, this, like the big man is in the ring right now. You know what I mean? He's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. Drew McIntyre is terrific, doing what he's doing with spinal stenosis. Sheamus is a warrior. I could see these guys fight forever. I would love to see a one-on-one with Drew and Gunther. I'd like to see Sheamus do a trilogy ender with Gunther. I'd like to see Dragunov thrown into this orbit. So this was tremendous. This was one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. It's one of the greatest WWE triple threat matches they've ever done.
Not easily the best WWE triple threat awful. From just like a match quality standpoint, like I know that what was it, Cena? What's the big Cena? The big Cena one is it Cena? Yeah.
Cena, Brock, and
people love that one.
I much prefer this. I got to.
Yeah, I prefer this one
better.
like, quite a lot. You know,
this
I don't even know anything that comes close in WWE. I think this is like arguably the best ever. Like,
WrestleMania 20 would be brought up, I guess, right?
Oh, the Benoit one.
Yeah,
that is great. That's tough.
I'm not saying I prefer. I think that would be the one people point.
The only when I say maybe the best triple threat I've ever seen, it's the X Division one.
I like this better than that too. Than the AJ Styles.
This is more our style though too, right? Like we've talked about this before. Ibu and I are very similar, and if we see like a good knife edge chop, we go, well, maybe it's
a good punch.
Oh my! Speaking of, not to go back and relitigate this, but Cody was doing some work punches on Roman during the Bouye trades, and I was like, yeah.
But sometimes it's all you need, bro. Good punches, you know, a good fire up spot.
Oh my God.
And we're fucking cooking, bro. Like
Sheamus was giving Drew Shotays. You know, I haven't seen that since Liger. I was like, yeah.
Sheamus is so awesome, man. How great is it seeing him get over the way he's over now? Like those fans love him now, man. Like truly love him.
And dude, this is why in my space yesterday, someone was saying like, could Dragunov get over in the main roster? And I said, Drew McIntyre is not Drew. Sheamus is more over than he's ever been, and the only thing he's done different. It's not a new gimmick. It's not a new catchphrase. He's just wrestling like an animal, like more than like it's just Sheamus on a perk. So,
Dude, I will say that there's like he's definitely the latest case of one of those guys who people have just started to kind of appreciate. You know, like I do think that's part of it too. The sense that when you see him at Clash of the Castle, always comes to mind. It did feel like the audience was kind of collectively being like, we probably missed on how good this guy was for a long time. You know? And it's been a really interesting to watch because he's always been a super consistent guy. Mm-hmm. He's been, the matchmaking's been different lately, and obviously he's found Gunther, who's like a real high-level dance partner for him to create magic with. But he's been a good wrestler for a long time. I just think the way he was presented and used a lot of times made people kind of see past his good traits, you know. And
you know what this makes me think of, Joe? Kurt Angle debuted in '99, and he was amazing. He was really good immediately, right? But I thought that him being paired with Chris Benoit unlocked both of them in ring when it comes to like their wrestling potential. And I think Sheamus and Gunther are kind of similar in that like they like became animals because it's like I can be myself against this guy, right? Yeah. In terms of your style. And Royal Rumble 03. Benoit has a 5-star match with Kurt Angle, loses the match, stands in the middle of the ring. He gets a long ovation. And from that point onwards, from there leading all the way up to Mania 20, it's understood by these fans that this guy is like a really respected veteran wrestler who's really, really good. Sheamus gets that big ovation at Clash of the Castle. It's understood from that point going forward. Sheamus is fucking him, you know? And so that happens sometimes where you just get two guys, you pair them in, and like it's like you literally just like unlock something with them. So that's what happened there. I love
this whole conversation has made me very concerned that he is winning the Intercontinental title in London, which could be the one thing that makes me regretful that I'm not there. So
I'll talk you into it, brother.
Well,
that's paid too.
I'll talk you. I can do it, you know.
You know what? Roman's not on that show, so I made an event with that.
Hey, so okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do super chats because we've got a few. I'm gonna at least try do a few of these because we have got quite a couple. Then we'll continue with Bianca versus Asuka. Okay, fuck's sake. Karl Marx 199 says Communist Party would like to say congrats Roman, throwing his one up in the chat. Appreciate the super chat. Tri-Town Spurs $10. Appreciate you as always. It's crazy how one outcome of a match can make you feel. After night one, I said that that's the most entertaining WE show I've ever watched. By the end of last night, I had no interest in tonight at all.
That's how
I hear that, bro. That's just how it goes, bro. You got to stick the landing. Hilariously, I think it's a Vince quote where it's like, the ending is what the people remember, bro. So it's like, I've been popping myself a little bit in the chat because obviously I have no idea, but I genuinely think there's like a better chance that Vince would have put over Cody last night than Triple H, you know?
Triple H does love him a heel, but he loves booking heel Dom.
I'm telling you, bro. People just associate Vince immediately with bad, which is absolutely 100% fair. Completely. He's senile, delusional, crazy, terrible booker in the last decade or so, longer. But I just think, man, there's this little part of me that thinks, you know what, Vince would have done the right thing here, you know.
My man in the chat said Perkmas. It's a Sheamus.
Pop. All right, so Shinato 199, appreciate you again. On to WrestleMania 40. Hashtag once in a lifetime. Hashtag twice in a lifetime. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about WrestleMania 40. I mean,
yeah, right. Like, get out of here,
bro. I don't want to think about another WrestleMania week. That could kill me.
Exactly.
Phantom FTW £2. Appreciate that. Fans tossed a literal rubber duck at Cody. Rubber chicken. Come on. No, come on. Trust the Process 34 $9.99. This is a two-part super chat, apparently. Cody strolls back after creating a rival company, and people thought he'd be rewarded for dethroning one of WWE's biggest stars ever and his generational title run after just a few months.
Yes.
Cody will win the title eventually, but I locally get it from a petty standpoint if they didn't want to let him be the one who ends Roman's historic run without taking his lumps and getting humbled first. That's just Vinceism, bro. You know? No, that's just like classic, like
you haven't made shit first, bro.
Yeah. Look, that's the sort of shit that people hated in the last few years that we was just mentioned. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's
bro, Monty Goldberg. When Vince got Goldberg in like 2003, like, you know, Goldberg got pushed really hard. He beat The Rock. He beat a bunch of guys, Jericho, but then his first title attempt. You know, SummerSlam 2003 in the Chamber. That's showing.
So now you're bringing up just like horrible things. You know.
That's what I'm saying. Like it ends with Evolution standing over his body.
Custodian from Philman Jr. aka American Okada 199. Let Big Ro beat San Martino's record. Come on. Anyway, we have still got a couple more super chats, but moving on, we'll come back to those 100%. We do appreciate all the super chats. Please keep them coming in. As I said, massively appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff as well, because, you know, get those likes up. We got a big audience tonight, you know. Got a few people in here. You know, I'm going to throw the banner up there with me. And there it is. All right, Asuka versus Bianca Belair, Raw Women's Championship. Bianca got the win here. I personally thought it was actually the right choice. I don't know how popular or unpopular of a decision that is. It seems like a lot of people were actually quite expecting Asuka to win this. I thought the match was, you know, I didn't want to actually phrase it. I was going to phrase it as Bianca's worst Mania match, but it's like that phrases it quite spitefully because it was a good. I was going to say it was a good match, you know, but the other two were like classics, you know. So it's like, you know, it was a good match. I think I may have been expecting a little more, but not too much more. It was a good match. Bianca retained. Like I said, I think that was the right choice. I didn't think they built Asuka enough to end a 1 year title reign. You know, I just didn't think they did a good enough job at doing that. So to me, it made sense. But yeah, a good match, man. Bianca undefeated at Mania, 3-0. Hopefully they can maybe they get a little streak going or something. Would pop me. But yeah, man, Joe, what did you think of the women's title match?
I really, really liked it a lot. I think I'm higher on it than I've seen most be, which, you know, is fair enough. I haven't rewatched it yet, so maybe I'd change my mind. But I really did I thought the quality of work was pretty spectacular, actually. I think both Bianca and Asuka take some of the, they're always so committed when bumping for others' offense, you know? So you put them together.
Bump on the outside, bro.
Yeah, when you put them together, you get some cool stuff in that regard. They're both obviously very dynamic offensively in different ways too, which made for a cool deal. The one thing I would say about was because, I guess Asuka is a heel, I guess, but she's not really because everyone likes Asuka. So it's like it was very much they did take turns a lot, and I didn't think they really committed to a particular direction as much as they just went back and forth, which is fine. I haven't got an issue with that necessarily. It was very, very good, but I did think it kind of kept it at a certain level while I still enjoyed that level a lot. In terms of the result, it didn't surprise me, so I didn't have any great reaction to it because I think, you know, Monty, you talked about this with me, right? It just felt like Asuka was not the person who was going to get the end of this streak, right? Basically, this reign, I should say. I get why people feel a certain way about that. It didn't surprise me. So I liked it an awful lot. I agree with you. It's the weakest of Bianca's big WrestleMania matches, but again, that says more about the
That's a high bar.
Those matches were tremendous, and this was too. But definitely, those two had a bit more of a punch to them. But there you go.
Ibu?
I really like this match. When Asuka won the Elimination Chamber, I thought she was going to beat Bianca. But then the build happened, and I was like, nah, Bianca's going to retain. And so I didn't get shocked at all. And the more I thought about it, I have not appreciated WWE's handling of Bianca in the last few months because what they have in their hands is a generational athlete. I think she's really, really special. And I think they need to service that by giving her interesting things to do. And what I'll say about this is Bianca, if I'm not mistaken, has never lost at WrestleMania. So if you're at that point, make a streak. Make it a thing now that's actually an anticipated thing at Mania. Nothing's ever going to be The Undertaker. But I think if you do this for like 3 more years, it's now officially a thing. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, Bianca's in her early 30s. Charlotte Flair is pushing 40, and she's still going at a high level. Wrestlers are going longer now. I think if you make Bianca a foundation piece, I'm all for that because I think she's special. Asuka, on the other hand, is 42, and that's not to say that like she shouldn't be pushed because I think she's still sensational. I think she's still like one of the best women's wrestlers in America, like by far. So I do hope that she has some interesting things to do following this. But I echo your guys' sentiment. I thought this was really, really good. The flow was like almost choppy at points. Like what I think hurt this a little bit though. It was really, really good. And if I saw it before I saw Charlotte Rhea, I'd be like, oh man, that was sick. Yeah. But like that was like epic all-time main event clash type stuff to me. So like, a 4 to a 4 1/4 compared to that, it looks a certain way. So it's kind of tough. But at the end of the day, this match was great. That match was tremendous. And it shows you the contrast between WWE's women's division at the main event level and the rest of them. There's a really big gap on the main roster, like a really, really big one. And I hope that they can bridge that by giving more to people like Candice, Io, Piper Niven, Mia Yim, so that we get the hierarchy and we can mix those people in with the main eventers and get more quality wrestling.
Yeah, man. We'll see how it all plays out and what stories they try to tell. Hopefully it gets leveled up a bit. All right. So next up, Snoop Dogg, Miz. They're in the ring. Miz, he pulls up to Snoop Dogg and he says, "Yo, what was you doing yesterday?" Snoop Dogg's like, "Yo, you want to do it again?" Meaning, give him another match. And whose music hits, Joe? Who's fucking
folks, I feel bad for how this segment of podcast is about to go because I know where it's good. Shane O'Mac came out and I gasped in horror. I was so appalled.
Really?
I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a good guy, but there are honestly a handful of people in the history of professional wrestling that are not like criminals that I'd like to see less on my television than Shane McMahon. If you disagree, I get it. Absolutely not. When he was the best in the world, he legitimately made me like hate professional wrestling as a whole, as a medium. So he came out and I yelled in horror, and then he got the mic and he sounded like me after like going up the stairs. He was a little struggling with breath a bit. Thanks for the reaction. He's like, all right, bro's feeling it. And I will concede that when he hit the first leapfrog, I said, that looked pretty good.
Bro, he was moving with like crispness and he was explosive for like 6 seconds.
I'm sorry, but the part of it that's stuck in my brain and it's replaying all day is when he does that thing where he like tries to like reverse. He like keeps trying to do a drop down even though he can't move, and Miz just keeps running. Miz just keeps running. God. Why did Miz hit the ropes again?
It's the Miz.
Bro, stop running, bro. He ain't going.
What an incredible couple of minutes, bro.
That was insane.
Then, obviously, for those that don't know, Shane attempts a second leap. Was it second or third? Leapfrog, and just absolutely blows his knee to smithereens. And Dave Meltzer tweets, Shane blew out his knee on a leapfrog, just like in his blunt way.
And hopefully he's okay, but God, it was just so funny.
Yeah,
it was
course, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible not to laugh at that, to be honest.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
I love Shane McMahon. I'm gonna be honest with you, shamelessly. I think Shane McMahon is just a good time. He's so preposterous. Like what
punches.
is this guy who thinks he's a shooter with his silly punches and his foot shuffle? He's a fucking maniac. You know what I mean, with the coast to coast and all this stuff. I honestly thought, I was telling my friend yesterday, I'm like, yo, he's gonna do the coast to coast. And he's like, no, he's not. He's like 53. And I was like, he's gonna do a coast to coast. And then before we could finish the debate, Shane's on the floor in agony. Shout out to Snoop Dogg for the improvisation.
Bro, shout out Snoop Dogg. Absolutely, bro. He handled it like a pro.
Bro, Snoop looked at him. He was like, oh, this nigga's cooked. And
it was funny, though, when he was like, are you good?
Shane, get better. You know what makes it also funny? Like, let's be honest, man. Last time we saw this guy, he was on cocaine at the Royal Rumble, saying that he was going to beat the shit out of everybody last year. And he was so on one that his dad fired him because he was just out of his mind. And we see him again running full speed to the ring, blows his knee out immediately. Shane O'Mac, get better. I want to see you wrestle Logan Paul at SummerSlam.
Oh, behave.
No. Monty, that
listen,
was
no. We're moving on now. You've ruined it. You've ruined it.
I'm spinning.
All right, so next up.
Chat, am I not spinning, bro?
Speaking of despicable.
Oh,
no, that's probably
come on, man.
Edge versus Finn Balor. And I have to say that in a Hell in a Cell match, Edge coming out with on Titantron, Brood Edge in blood letters. What is he like?
It was like man? He's listed on like the video game or some shit, like
Brood Edge.
Brood Edge, and then he comes out to Slayer, and he's got this cool mask on, and he's got wings for some reason, and then it stops, and he drops all that shit, and he plays his normal music. He's very fired up to be at Mania. That always pops me with Edge, I will say, Like when he feels the crowd and he fucking goes possessed while he's making his entrance.
He's like, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah. Then we got Demon Balor as well, and they have a Hell in a Cell match, and there's coloured weapons and there's things happening, and obviously a big part of the match was Edge throws a ladder at Finn, and he catches Finn on the top of his head. And it's obviously, we don't see anything because of the way it's shot, us people at home. But, the cut men get allowed into the Hell in a Cell cage, and they're working on Finn, and they're closing up his cut. They're giving him a quick stitch or whatever the fuck they're doing. They're cleaning him up. And obviously, in the moment, you're watching it, and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, covering, let him bleed. It's a Hell in a Cell match, bro. Like, that was like a very common sentiment also.
Until the picture came out.
And then after the show, Finn posts a picture of the cut, and he's got like this 7-inch gash across the top of his head, bro. Like, yeah. And it's nasty. It's very nasty. And obviously, it's super unfortunate that it happened. It's super unfortunate it happened in the middle of a Hell in a Cell match because, like I said, when you was watching it in the moment, you're like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? But then I guess it makes sense, and it's just unfortunate, But I haven't got much else to say on the match in terms of like reviewing it as like the match itself. I guess it was all right, It was all right. I don't think it was bad at all. It was just it was all right. I'm
gonna be honest. So my timeline was like shitting on this and stuff. Look, because the tone of the feud is so silly and over the top, and Edge is silly, and Finn Balor as a demon is silly. You know how I watched this? I was enjoying it in this like campy Great Muta in a plunder match type of way. You go back to Muta's matches against like a Shinzaki, for example. It was like this ridiculous. He has green mist. He's popping out of smoke. There's table spots. The only difference is like that would have blood. Like Muta would jab you with like a wooden stick on your face and shit, and you'd bleed and you all that type of stuff. But yeah, I thought Finn Balor was a trooper for like fighting through that and continuing to want to wrestle. So I actually enjoyed this in like a really stupid, chaotic kind of way. The colored weapons were just absolutely preposterous. It's like, why would the promotion say, okay, we're going to spray paint a table purple? for this match. These guys, it's so silly, and I would totally get why somebody would despise this, but I had a good time with it, and I think it would have, for me, been great had it not had the stoppages with the blood and stuff like that.
No, Joe.
Well, I wasn't quite that far, but I do see the lot. I didn't dislike it by any means. I thought it was fine. Just a quick thing, because we've discussed this before, but it continues to pop me that like you cannot hit someone over the head with a weapon unless you throw it. It's like my favorite unofficial wrestling rule. Like, listen, man, you cannot swing that chair. But if you want to throw it as hard as possible, feel free. Absolutely fine. The ladder throw was obviously crazy, and we discussed what that did to Finn. I do have to say, I think Finn Balor is a terrific wrestler. I have a great deal of admiration for him as a wrestler, but the Demon's like offense basically being the same, and him just adding like those spooky faces he does, and like the growling and shit that he does with his tongue is one of the most ridiculous things. I forgot how ridiculous it was until Edge, when he like fenced him in against the cell with the kendo sticks, and Finn was like an animal. Like he was like, it was so absurd that I actually completely get why it popped you on some level with it. It was
So I'm saying it was so ridiculous, bro. I'm saying that's shout out to Muda, who just got inducted in the Hall of Fame, bro. That it's just so over the top and campy that this man just becomes a new mystical human being when he transforms into this thing. And it's like, what even is the Demon when you think about it? In a real context, it makes no sense.
I will say too, there was enough plunder that it was like they could have gone in a different direction. I think it would have been a much harder watch than this was. There was always a lot going on in terms of weaponry until the referee stoppages, which we all agree, like it is what it is, right? So I didn't mind it. I actually was totally fine with this version of the match and kind of was fearful as to what we were going to get. So I had fun time with it. It was right.
Well, yeah, man, that was the WrestleMania Note 2 review by myself, Eva, and Hulbert. Obviously, Manny dropped in a few ad libs as well. We always appreciate those. But we're gonna keep it moving. After the show and during the show, there was a few weird tweets by some of the talent. Asuka done a tweet completely shitting on the women's division, and Bailey tweeted something weird. Drew tweeted waving emojis. I mean, why would it? I'm reading these tweets and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Do we have any reaction to these weird tweets that we've been seeing lately the past couple of days?
All I'm gonna say, man, my boy Drew Galloway versus Claudio in that honor zone.
The honor zone.
That's a real world title match right there, So I'm gonna throw out there.
Fair. Appreciate it. Yeah, you can come back now, man. We've done the Mania stuff, brother.
He's been scribbling GYV notes in his notes.
He has, man. The only other thing would be
I was eating some cookies.
Right, so there was the Brock ESPN interview where he said he don't know how long I'm going to be around. I hope it's a long time. I love Brock.
That was a really cool 14-minute interview that he did with DC, and they talked about their early amateur days and how they were in junior pro wrestling. And then my favorite part is that he's like, I'm going to put over the younger talent and all that. Then you just beat Almost. The next day you beat him like a few hours later, which
respect.
Respect.
Brock Lesnar broke kayfabe by being nice and cordial with DC.
So other news tidbits I've got is Matt Jackson. No, is it Matt? No, Nick Jackson. So which one's injured? It's Matt. Yeah, it's Matt.
both injured.
Yeah, so he got both in hospital. KFA, brother. All right, so Matt Jackson, obviously he had a torn bicep and he opted not to get surgery because obviously surgery would have had him out for like 6 months, 8 months or something, would have been a while. But, we kind of got a pretty good update from him today where he said it's a partially torn bicep and he should be back in a matter of weeks and not months, So, that's kind of that tidbit. It's good that he's not going to be out for too long because, of course, he's in this huge Blackpool Combat Club elite story. Him and Nick are, of course, like a huge centerpiece part of this. So, that would have been really awkward if he weren't around,
Monty, I'll tell you the real reason why he didn't want to get surgery is because FTR Ball has been walking around with a torn pec too, and he hasn't got surgery yet. And, he's out here, playing strong.
Dax isn't an animal. No, Dax is an animal, bro. He's getting injections. He's getting probably getting like 15 physiotherapy fucking sessions a day.
Let me tell you something.
He's an animal.
Bro, Dax Harwood has stuff on his body right now that he's dealing with that would put any other guy out for months if they looked after themselves. He's absolutely destroying himself. The time that he took off before they made this return was not even half
a drop in the ocean.
It's not even remotely enough to take care of what he's taking care of. It was a pain management break. So
that's what I'm saying, man. FTR and the BC are some real motherfuckers, man. They're keeping this company afloat.
All right. All right, man. Master94 from earlier. Appreciate it if you're still around. 199. Omega Bryan or Cody versus Roman, which one is better? I'd say Omega Bryan is the better match because it didn't fucking piss me off as much, But if we're talking for some reason I feel like you're asking about the atmosphere,
You just created a new question.
No, because it's that's where. Yeah, because it's why would you compare Cody and Roman as an actual match to Omega Bryan when it's do you know what I mean? Yeah. I guess it's kind of like you said, me making up the question, because when I was watching Roman Cody, and I thought about it a couple of times, and we talked about the big fight feel and the atmosphere, and Joe kind of alluded to it earlier. It's the last time I felt really big fight feel in the crowd, into just seeing two stars go off like that, was Omega versus Bryan, in my opinion. But that was in an arena, bro. We're talking 15, 20,000 people.
Right.
Last night was 70, 75,000 people. Do you know what I mean? It's different. It's just different, But as a match, I think Omega Bryan's not even close, bro. It didn't have a fucking bullshit. I know it went a draw, but it didn't. It was a satisfying draw,
I'll tell you this, Monty. I was in Arthur Ashe Stadium for that match. I saw it live with my own eyes. It was right in front of me. I was a part of the people going crazy for it, electrifying. The bell rang and people immediately started to pop. Something came over me and I started screaming my lungs out when the bell rang. And yet, if Cody would have won, I would have picked that match over it, to be honest with you, actually.
Listen, I love you, Paul. Sorry. But come on, brother. No, come on, bro.
Monty's being very disrespectful to Mike Bennett and Roosh, man. They had an electric,
Oh, not this. Manny's doing Manny Law right now.
Bro, my point is, had Cody gone over, I would have taken
on their feet.
To be honest with you, but he didn't. So I don't.
Yeah, he didn't, and the finish was also terrible. Awful.
Yeah. So Omega Bryan, which is better. It's the best Dynamite match ever. I think. Yeah. Can't wait to see them wrestle again, and they're probably going to wrestle again very, very soon.
God bless. Gods are good. Average Foodie sent us 500 of a currency I'm not 100% sure of. I think it comes to about $20 though, because we got the orange super chat. So one thing is for sure.
Wait. What is that currency?
I don't know, bro. Let me fucking read it. Anyway.
Nigga says 500. I'm trying to know.
One thing is for sure, Triple H has been a bad booker and he's overrated and overhyped by those WWE joints. For me, Triple H is a bad booker, and also Cody should have won yesterday and fought on WWE Endeavor deal, and Triple H is a shit. A lot of the same. We talked about it, bro. If you just rewind the pod to the start, we talk all about the WWE sale, so you probably came in a little late, but we still appreciate you nonetheless.
That currency's rupees.
Okay, 500 rupees. Either way, it came with the orange super chat, so I know it's roughly around $20 or something. So appreciate you, of course. Breewu, $4.99. Appreciate you too. If Jay wins any of the world titles, Seth and Cody should immediately ask for their release. Wow. Sure, one of those can not that bad,
Monty.
Anyway, Parker Crosby for $9.99. Appreciate you. if you found out that Roman is done after this run ends and transitioning into a Cena schedule, would you be more open to this run extending a bit, knowing that once it ends, it's over for Roman? No. That's my opinion, though. Yeah, no.
Yes.
You wanted it to happen anyway.
I want to see somebody beat Bruno Sammartino's record. I mean, I don't know what the big deal is.
That's like 5 more years.
Yeah, 5 more good years.
All right, then. I want to. This is mainly for me and Manny, I think. But since we've got a few minutes, I want to talk about it. Ring of Honor dropped a video earlier of Nigel McGuinness kind of like reflecting on doing the commentary on the weekend, and he done like a couple little hints that might suggest that he might be thinking about, putting the boots back on, brother. Fired up. I think there is a real chance that Nigel does wrestle, especially if they're doing like hinting at it. With like a Ring of Honor produced thing, it's not like he's just kind of like tweeted something, or something like they've done like an actual like promo, and like it's not like it was like a subtle hint, and yeah, if you know kind of thing. It was like a real hint, Nigel McGuinness, man, it would be almost surreal to see him back now, but I love him so much. If that's what he wants to do, bro, and if it's safe and he's cleared, etc., then there's not many things in this game that would make me happier, brother. Manny, I know this is look at Manny, bro. Look at. Get your shit off, bro.
Man, the big man is back, baby. I mean, look, he's gonna come out there. He's gonna wrestle Samoa Joe. He's gonna wrestle Shibata, Eddie Kingston. I mean, bro, baby, we're off to the moon. Maybe get another Danielson match because he's been teasing it all weekend. I almost started crying, like teary-eyeing at work. Man, I was on break. I don't even know what to say. I went on his Pro Wrestling Tees. They got both his shirts because I found out you can do that. I've been asking people at WrestleCon to buy me some shirts. I was on eBay. I brought a vintage Nigel McGuinness shirt. It cost me $100, but it is what it is.
No, you did not do that, man. Please. What a character! Incredible.
Yeah, I just can't wait.
Fuck him up, Nigel. Fuck him up. We're back.
I just hope that he at least wrestles on Dynamite at least once or twice. I need the masses to see
I'm really glad
what real lariats are.
I don't even need it. I think seeing him putting, in his older days, back in Ring of Honor, putting the boots back on. I'd feel my heart, brother.
Monty, could you imagine he gets the hair gel out? He gets that thing spiky. He gets the blonde hair.
We're back. We're fully back.
Like the thing is, Tony Khan would absolutely be the boss that pushes and advocates for him to do that. Like you gotta look like you did in 2007. You know what though?
Yeah.
I just want to whatever makes him happy.
I mean, you know how serious I was about this, man. I fucking dropped my sandwich. I heard
those tweets were incredible arc. That sandwich arc you went on. But yeah, it's like no. I think I might have even said this the other day, man. It's like Nigel is as much as I'd love to see him back and stuff, he's always kind of like what he wants to do, sort of thing, because he's not like such a big star. Like I know it sounds silly, but like like when Punk was away, like for all those years, it's like you want him back because of like what he can bring to the business and how he can shake things up and how he can do this. You know what I mean? Like with Nigel, because he didn't really achieve like the heights of star power that he definitely should have. Like at one point, he was like quite comfortably the best wrestler in the world, I thought. But regardless, like he don't have the name value where it's
an animal.
Yeah, so it's like you don't have like the name value where he's gonna like affect any business, and really like do much, if that makes sense. But it would just be like for me, So
to me, I feel like he was one of the most underrated wrestlers. He never got brought up in the 2000s. When you think of Ring of Honor names, you just think of Punk, Brian, Joe, and all these other guys. And I always felt like Nigel was always left out, and I think that was because he didn't have the run in the 2010s like everybody else did. And I'm glad that he's finally going to be able to have it now, and people are going to see how great of a wrestler he was.
I agree.
Fucking how you tag, bro, baby. I'm fucking pumped, bro. I mean,
I'm happy for you, Manny, because you don't enjoy anything in modern wrestling right now except BCC. So I'm happy you have something. You know, someone has to, because Cody Rhodes lost and CM Punk isn't active. So, you know,
Need
if I
that
can
Garcia match, brother.
if Backup Hangman can't be happy, then at least Manny the Hooper can be happy. You know.
oh, I was also worried because like Tony never brought out like he's all elite or all honor or whatever he's gonna do, and
He's all honor.
I was so worried because he
Wow.
didn't say anything. And then Dave was the only one on Twitter that said he was a great pickup. So then I went on Trusty Cage Match like I always do, check Nigel's profile every couple of days, and I happened to check last night, and the company where it says he works under is Ring of Honor. So I'm gonna go with
You
Cage
took that as an official announcement.
Yeah,
He's
the
fine.
Cage
Well,
match has
I mean-
the information on.
Listen, bro. But listen, you take
not
what you
that.
can get, bro.
It's not that.
That's
I mean,
fucking
if
awesome.
it was
Alright,
.com,
so,
I wouldn't trust it.
Okay.
Let's wrap up. Let's wrap up.
Yep.
Again, please like the video if you've been watching this whole time and you still haven't. You know, if you logged into the old YouTube account, do give us a like because it does help, man. You know, that's why you always hear these podcasters and YouTubers ask for likes because you know it goes a long way. But we do appreciate the big turnout, especially those of you that did like and subscribe, etc., etc. Massively appreciated. Super chats, we've got one last one here from Mavs fan. We appreciate him as always, saying 199 Shingo called out Claudio Joe Danielson in New Japan. That is
I hope he's
some
ready to
real
get
graphs
that
right
out.
there. You know, we need that. You know,
Absolutely.
Shingo singles match on this Forbidden Door is something I
Oh,
really want
man.
because he didn't get one last year, which I found like I don't want to say baffling because there's so much talent to get on that show. You know, but like, Shingo. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking genuinely like one of the best singles wrestlers in the world in any company of like the past 3-4 years. You know,
Monty, did you see that rumored card that got the 2 matches that got leaked or whatever?
Go on, end the podcast with it.
It was obviously Omega and Ospreay 2, and then Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. They're gonna run it.
I could see both of those happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. But
Real quick before we sign off, Triple H is going to open Monday Night Raw with a special announcement. Monty, what's your guess for what the announcement's going to be?
My first guess was the belts. Obviously, Raw starting right now, so it's about to make the announcement. But yeah, the belts. Also, I think it will be something to do with merging the belts into one, or something, or renaming them, or you know what I mean, sort of something along those lines. But of course, like WWE has literally just created, like, just done the biggest deal it's ever done in its history. So it could even be something to do with that. I doubt it, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
We'll see.
WrestleVotes did just tweet, I'm hearing that for the first time in months, tonight's show has a large Vince McMahon feel and presence to it. Big weekend for the boss to continues.
Oh, here we go.
What a note to close on.
I know.
What a note.
Well, enjoy Raw.
Raw
Enjoy
plans
Triple
look
H's announcement.
Yeah.
Ibu, I'm cutting you off, brother. Enjoy Raw. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We appreciate the super chats, the likes, the subscribers, as always. And we will catch you tomorrow with Don't Go Live, our Pure Raw show. If you're into the Japanese wrestling scene, especially the hardcore Japanese wrestling fans, I think that will definitely be something for you. So please tap in tomorrow. And again, appreciate you. And we will get out of here in a couple of seconds. One last plug. I thought Manny was trying to say something. Yeah.
I was trying to throw out a piece.
Take care, everybody.
No.
See you
Take
next
care,
time.
man.